recording of Howard E. Glossop of 1025 Tulip Street, Grand Ledge, Michigan, 48837. Howard's phone number is area code 517-627-5691. The recording was made on April 18, 1989 at the Oldsmobile History Center at 4000 North Grand River in Lansing by Jim Walkinshaw. This is tape number 1 of 3 tapes. All right, Howard, this first book is a...
Well, that's my old conveyor book. I used it many years.
And it gives you specs and things for various kinds of monorail conveyors. Is that
right?
What that was used for?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think some guy gave that to me from a salesman for mechanical handling, probably about 1940, fall of 41.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was typical of what the layout guys used when they were doing conveyor stuff.
Pretty much, yes.
Okay. All right.
There's other notes in there.
Set that baby aside for the moment. Here's some Polaroids, which are, looks like of the model board, perhaps?
That might be. What does it say on the back?
It says storage. Oh, this is your storage over the trucking aisle thing.
Yeah, we never done it, but it was just an idea. And I had a little...
Oh, yeah, I see
a little mock-up on the 3D board just to demonstrate it, but we didn't go to it.
Okay, and this was 1965.
Yeah, we wouldn't have got too much overhead, but in a critical place.
Yeah.
It would have worked out.
Okay, so that's what that's all about. Here's a whole mess of the frame yard. These were taken in 63, late 63. So this was when we put the big racks in and the big truck that we had. Is that what this is all about?
We didn't put them in though.
Or is this later, or earlier than that? These are these are all the frames sitting on the side rails that you had in there to hold them. Uh-oh, here's one that collapsed.
Wind blew it over. That was the model. We made up one or bought one and
to try it
down there in the northwest corner of 75, where the building kind of
narrows down in there.
Yeah. It was sitting right in there, and we had some piles of frames on there, about 16 in a stack.
Yeah.
But the wind, we had a hell of a windstorm and blew them over.
Just
as you see that, yeah, they were just going up after him there.
He's trying to get them down. I'll bet we had. Oh yeah, wow, that's really something.
You can see where it was.
Yeah, right on that shed. Yeah.
Must have made a hell of a noise.
I bet it did too. Hope nobody got.
We done it over a weekend at night.
Assume nobody got hurt.
No.
So. And this was how it looked before it had top
That's
over.
Right.
That's how they look stacked up there.
We bought one set of racks. And
this was your trial program to see if it worked.
Was I working for you at that time?
No, I don't think so. I remember when all this went in.
I was working for Frank Fowler, but
I think Logan was there.
Is Logan still there?
Yeah.
You took over in the midst of this.
Yeah, somewhere this was either there or you were going through it.
Planning stage,
Yeah. And we did that for just to get more capacity. Why did we do that?
Capacity. Yeah, we didn't have any room on the ground. We just had to store more frames. And it took so long to call them in from the sidetrack,
On the rail.
On the rails. And so they had to have more frames, available.
Did they?
Double the capacity, just about.
Had you seen this approach somewhere else, or how did it?
No,
how did we dream that up?
We kind of developed it from a concept. We had 2 or 3. We had some with overhead cranes and pick up the stacks and take them around like that.
Yeah.
But this was just to. This thing was just double-deck stacking.
Yeah, with a big huge fork truck with the clamp on it.
11-foot forks. And pick up 2 piles, 32 frames. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's a good,
But Buick did, whether they followed us or not, I don't remember.
Uh-huh.
But Buick had it.
But we were kind of pioneers in that thing, weren't we? Nobody else had tried that.
I don't think anybody else really had it. I think Buick followed us in,
Uh-huh.
or close.
Well, now what have we got here, Howard? This is 1964.
Oh, this is our 1965 model changeover field office.
Field office,
Yeah.
2 benches.
Yeah. All our maps are out on there, our layouts. George Rowland used to come riding up on his scooter and look something to take off. You know, it was kind of handy.
So this is right out in the assembly plant somewhere.
This is in building probably 19 or 25.
Uh-huh.
Let's see, look at that wall.
It's a brick. It's got a bunch of angle lights, so...
I think it was, let's see, 25 was the first one, and then 19.
No, 19, as you come from, which, as you go to the east from
as
the
you're
old...
going from 40
Oh, yeah.
over
you
to
go through
the
16, and then 25, and then 19.
19, yeah,
Uh-huh.
that would be 25.
Uh-huh.
then.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
But it did work out nice. We had lights.
That was a
and
traditional thing for the model change. We would set up a little set of tables and have all of our junk.
We didn't always have it that good.
Yeah, but
that was a big change that
Uh-huh.
year. I remember that was a big change, and it worked. It really worked. Because we had layout guys on all shifts.
Uh-huh.
Millwrights.
Was that the-
trades were all on all shifts?
64. Was that the year we went to putting both cars on the same line, or was that the getting
No,
ready for the Tornado? I wonder what that was.
65.
This was 64, so
We
what
built,
about for 65
yeah, we must have
model?
been, we must have been putting in the Tornado plant in 65, because the first model Tornado was 66.
Yeah, which would have been late 65.
65, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Had something to do with it, probably.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, let's see, Howard, what have we got here? Here are, it's like a body coming up. See, this is the location of the first body on picture number 1, ended up when trying to separate the overlapped condition.
So they used to piggyback.
Oh,
Remember,
I
they used to
see.
piggyback?
The jacks got up on one another. Uh-huh.
Mhm.
All right. This is 1961. That's a 61.
Yeah, it sure is.
Boy, some Polaroid pictures were good and some just weren't worth diddly. were
Right,
they?
yeah.
Uh-huh. What did we do
I
to...
don't remember who took the pictures.
Did we
even.
add a thing on the bottom of this to keep that from happening or something?
We, let's see, what did we do? I think we respaced the lines a little bit, and they might have had, Fisher might have put in more of a plate
like a
on the
bigger
front.
bumper.
A bigger bumper on the
Mhm.
front and back.
Ooh, that one got pretty close, didn't it?
Yeah, yeah, that's right up
Yeah.
on there.
Yeah. Okay, so that's what that's all about.
I forgot all about that. I mean, that just
These are kind of typical little problems that we would
little
have had at
problems
the
that we
time
had.
of the day, at
Yeah,
that time. Uh-huh.
that's right. When I retired, I just put all that stuff.
Oh,
in,
sure.
You know.
Yeah, that's
There's no
great.
use putting it in the scrap basket.
Well, no. See, 1963, this says. That looks like cardboard, is it, maybe?
It had something to do with our waste disposal.
Maybe putting in a baler or something? And this was, this looks like a frame. Must have been a
We
frame
put a
hanger or
plate.
something.
We put a plate or something on the front to hang our manifests on. I remember that.
Oh, yeah,
That might
okay.
have been something to do with it.
Uh-huh.
That's when
Okay.
they first come out with the manifest. It was about that big. And
Yeah.
It used to be just a little card.
Yeah.
But,
This is when they started getting to the computer kind of, was that?
getting near that, if it
Uh-huh.
wasn't the early stages of it,
Uh-huh.
because there was so many options on the cars
Yeah.
that had to do something.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. There's another picture of that hanger. Oh, I don't know.
That might have been an experimental thing. Let's see now.
It's a rear hanger.
Flip over with it. Our early stages of the flip over chain and the chain arrangement.
Mm-hmm. It may be, when you went to that big trunnion thing.
Yeah.
These are all photographs of that same hanger.
I believe it.
Oh yeah, here it is spinning,
Yeah.
rotating, or it's the front one is. Safety chain, or cable, I
Cable
mean.
on there, chain and cable.
Okay, same thing again. 1963 that was. Okay, this will be, I guess, I don't know what that is. Does that look like? Which way is up there, Howard?
I think you could put this
I'll
in
put that on the
file,
pile.
put that in the round file. It don't look like much of anything, does it?
No. All right, now we got some big photographs here.
Yeah, this
now what
is,
are we doing here, Howard?
Well, this is when we were scheduling that front, right and left-hand front suspension. There were
Okay.
several different types.
This was, must have been up in the axle plant, the old axle plant?
Yeah, this system was in 78.
Okay.
You remember the conveyors that brought the rear axles in?
Yeah.
They scheduled
By
it.
the
They
dock
scheduled
there?
off from it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this was just east of it,
Oh,
on
okay.
along the
That south.
south wall
south,
of 78. Yeah.
And this was the old style front end because it had knuckles in
yeah.
there. And,
Knuckle support, wishbone, upper and
Yeah.
lower.
Yeah.
I guess is the upper wishbone on there?
It doesn't look like it.
But here's the way it
maybe
worked.
is.
You see, he had his different types.
That's what all the buttons are for?
Press this button, and it let an escapement up here, air-driven escapement, let
Okay.
one out, see?
Out of this track up overhead?
Out of this track overhead. See, there's
Oh,
1,
yeah.
2, 3, 4. And over here's 1, 2, 3, 4. See,
Oh, yeah,
they come in
okay.
like this to him.
All
And he
right.
just stood there. You know, it was such a bulky part.
Yeah.
We had to bring him in, concentrate. Bud Workman and I worked on this.
Okay.
Remember Bud?
Oh, sure. Yeah. All right.
And there's
Oh, that's a nice
Better
picture
see.
there of the
Yeah,
area.
so there's the-
He would schedule them based on his paper, must have been his schedule,
There's a teletype right here.
In back over by the bay post.
I
Oh,
think-
yeah, maybe
it's
right in there.
I
Yeah,
think that's the teletype.
Yeah.
He did tear out. Oh, and this was the sheet, the big table he had, see,
Yeah.
and he just keep pushing through because it was kind of a fast job.
Oh, I imagine
We
it
was
would
making
be.
about 110 an hour,
Yeah.
and that would be 220 there.
Of those, yeah. that
Those
we got
things
a-
an hour. So
yeah.
he was handling. And he had a little thing like this with a given length, you know,
Yeah.
cable.
Like
and
a
he just get
hook.
hold of it, put it on the line.
Swing it
schedule
around.
Yes, there's the line. And he-
Okay, and that's
he
his
took
storage
it.
in the back.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember how it sets it held, but
Well, we've got a model board shot of something here, Howard. See if we can figure out what it is.
I don't know. Is there anything on the back?
No.
I don't really know.
Nothing.
It's just something that I
Yeah,
picked up.
can't
It
tell.
might have been a concept, bringing in a...
Oh, here's a sign, just a minute, let's see if we can read that. Knuckle support repair area, so this is someplace out in the axle plant.
Axle plant. Bill, is that 21?
Must be,
Oh, let's see.
okay. There's a washer over here on the left side.
I think this is pretty much just a concept, something
Okay.
that we built up and took a picture
Yeah.
of. Because I think where we ended up, we had big carriers that held a lot of pieces and they
Yeah.
pushed around. I don't know
Yeah.
if you remember that or not.
Yeah, I remember those big boxes like
Yeah,
that we-
and they rode
hung,
on,
right.
hung on a monorail, and the guy bring them up here and work out of one
into the
a-
one on the opposite, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. That's
Mhm.
that's the way it was when I first came.
Well, I think that this was a concept of the way it would work.
Oh, those were push rails like.
Push rail. These
Uh-huh.
are just push
Yeah,
rails,
all right.
monorail. They're
Yeah.
heavy duty because
Mhm.
those things weigh
Oh, yeah.
a lot.
Lots of iron there.
I think I worked that under Phil Cartwright.
That would have been about when?
Well, actually, I was in 21.
Yeah.
48, 49, 50, along in there
Okay.
somewhere.
All right.
Yeah.
See, here's a group,
You knew
Howard.
Phil.
I only knew him, I never worked with him or for him.
He was in plant engineering,
Yeah,
probably, to
but
begin with.
He had gone by the time I think I had got there.
Oh, was that right?
Yes.
Who was in charge of Whiters?
Whiters was in charge of layout when I
Yeah.
arrived, yes.
Yeah.
And Russell, I think, was the department head.
Was he?
Or maybe Truxell, I can't remember. Did Truxell come after Russell?
You
or
have to
before?
go back to Day Cheney.
Yeah, well, that's right.
Yeah.
I replaced Day Cheney.
Yeah,
That's where I came from. He
Mhm.
retired and I came.
yeah, that's right. I remember you and he worked
Yeah,
together
we
for
worked,
some
when
time
I was a student,
before.
I worked with him for quite a while.
You did, yeah. Mhm.
Yep.
Well,
Okay, now we're down to something here, Howard. What is all that?
oh my gosh, I don't know. I think that's just to protect the page.
Keep the paper clip from digging
Oh,
out
that's
here.
your-
I'll get that baby off of there. Well, we're digging outside.
Now, this is what I was telling you
Oh,
on the
yeah.
phone the other day,
Mm-hmm.
and they was putting in the footings and everything to extend, put an additional bay on
Uh-huh.
75.
Yeah, this is that 74A or something building that we built out
That was
there.
75, yeah, I guess it was 74, wasn't it?
Or
Because
74A.
upstairs we had 74A and B and
Yeah,
oh,
it's all
it's
mixed
crazier
up,
than
those
that,
little
yeah.
corner down in
Yeah.
there. This was done in 56 apparently.
It looks like.
6/20/56, this next
Yeah.
one was taken. So this must have been getting ready for 57 model or something.
I thought we was building this on here for air ride, which was 58.
Yeah.
Of course,
Which may
that
be,
took quite
too,
a lot of
so,
pre-planning
yeah,
to get
yeah.
that.
You may have had to build this then to get done.
We did, yeah. I was working for Truxell. at
Oh,
that
were ya?
time. Truxell
Uh-huh.
and, who was, Redmond or Whiters?
Let's
One or
see.
the other,
Yeah,
Redmond,
I don't
Whiters.
remember when they switched. Okay, so this whole group is of the, whoops, no, the first two is of that. And the next one is of building, this is that
That's,
triangle building down at the end, next to the
Building,
bridge. 31, that's called.
was that 31?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I shouldn't forget it, but
Well, I found they
spent
slip
so
away.
darn much
Yeah,
time
they do. Yeah.
on that project.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so that's that, and that's also in 56, 6/20 of 56.
There's another
Okay, of the
scene of
steel
the
work.
same thing.
Well,
yeah.
that spots it for
Yeah,
sure,
that's
because
a
there's a
darn
little
nice
bridge.
picture, isn't
Yeah,
it?
good picture.
Yeah.
Okay, now this more of the frame yard building. This time they're doing
The frame shed.
they're doing the shed and the
I
building.
guess.
Yeah, because here's the shed back here. This thing, I think, isn't it?
Oh, I guess that is, yeah, that's, oh, that
This
must
is
be
the
the
building
building
itself,
itself.
yeah.
The steelwork
Uh-huh.
is up, yeah.
Looks like we took the walls all down, did we?
We did, yeah.
The wind blew through the building?
I imagine it was good weather, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, what is
Let's
that?
see. Here is, well, there's a frame.
It's the,
So we're out along the
it's-
chassis line.
It's the chassis line. I think it was showing our stock arrangement there.
This is how your front suspensions came over. Your
Yeah.
front, there they are.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
They
Okay.
came over from 78
From that
to
other
21.
photograph
yeah.
that we
Uh-huh.
saw. Uh-huh. This is more in the car assembly plant.
Mhm. That's
Okay.
the old hangar, the old type
Yeah,
hangar there.
yeah.
And I don't know whether we was trying to demonstrate our shortage of space or for stock or what. I
Uh-huh.
don't
But still
remember.
some pretty representative pictures of how the car assembly
You
plant
bet.
looked
You bet.
in
Mhm.
those days.
Yeah.
So this is a whole sequence of those down in the shop.
Yeah, it is.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
All right.
See, I don't look
Oh,
at them.
boy.
I don't look at them too often.
Well, no, that's all right. It's just, they're a nice set of photos that demonstrate what the plant looked like. Yeah, look at that tailpipe
all
rack.
screwed up.
Oh, gosh.
We've seen a lot of that, didn't we? Before we went into really rack systems.
Yeah, when it all came in willy-nilly every which
You
way.
know, I can remember when radiators came in cardboard, or in wood racks.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Radiators, you know.
I say, and like this picture's full of bolt nut boxes,
Yeah.
but we must have got, before then, we had all of these kegs and things.
Yes,
You
we
remember
did.
those kinds of
Oh,
things?
yeah, I handled plenty of them when I worked in the shipping room.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So that
We
was,
saved all our kegs for reshipping to BOP.
Oh, did
know.
ya?
Oh, yeah. All the kegs were saved. They took the nails out
Uh-huh,
and everything.
uh-huh.
I wondered, is this one getting ready to, you remember when trucks will come up with these 5 types
the
of
rollover hopper
handling
and,
system,
oh,
feed in,
yeah.
roll over. I'm wondering if these pictures
You're probably-
wasn't demonstrating
Yeah.
why our need for
because that was
something
about
better.
right here.
Yeah, for something
Yeah.
better.
Yeah,
I think
that's
that's what
true.
those photographs
That's
were
probably right.
illustrating there.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's a pretty good reason probably for
See,
all
we
of
had a
that.
lot of these
Yeah,
hoppers, right?
yeah. Okay, well that's an excellent set of photos there. That's,
I'm glad I kept those
oh
things,
yeah, that's great, Howard. Oh, let's see
This is
here.
a
Here's a
shot.
batch of axle something or other.
Showing something that needs to be improved on, I think, is this pallet. See, with breaking
Oh
down.
yeah. Oh yeah, these are the old banjo
That's
or
the
what
old
we
banjo,
that we welded up, weren't
Rear
they?
axle housing, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And there's some more, your roller conveyor and your,
Those are doggone heavy.
oh yeah, they sure were. Oops, this must be a stop. Oh yeah, you got a stop there. That's what he's
Mhm.
doing, kicking it down.
Kicking it down,
Uh-huh. All right.
yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Now that's quite a while back.
Yeah, now that was,
When did we go to the Salisbury axle?
60,
You're right, 60s, early 60s.
mm-hmm. Someplace in there.
Mhm.
Yeah. You know what this is,
I
Howard?
don't know myself.
BOP to Howard
Oh.
Glossop, 1957. Please find the photographs of our baling machine.
Bailing machine, yeah.
Okay, so these are from, oh yeah, okay.
Let's see.
This must have been when you were getting your baler, Howard.
Yeah, yeah.
You were wandering around trying to find out.
Yeah, let's see, there was about 4 of us went on several trips to see balers, including,
Okay.
including the head of salvage there,
Oh, Claude Landis?
Claude Landis.
Oh, yes.
Probably Claude Landis, myself, Walt Sparra, and some other dude.
I'll bet, I won't take it out of there, but I'll bet that bale picture there goes in that pile.
Probably does.
Mhm.
Put it in there if you
Yeah,
want it.
well, I'll pull it out later here.
All right.
I'm gonna turn that over so I don't lose it. Okay, here's a guy handling a bolt nut box.
Remember that
There's your rollover hopper.
rollover hopper? Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
Well, and this is the way
Yeah.
we designed a tong to do that
Uh-huh.
ourselves.
So this is a series on how to handle bolt nut boxes, isn't it?
Mhm. Yeah. Oh, there he is taking the cover off.
Yeah. That is a good series showing how that works.
You know, I haven't been into these pictures
Yeah.
in this detail for.
Oh, this was a dumper, Howard.
That's the dumper, yeah.
Mhm.
Roll over and dumped it into a.
Okay, did we do that now? Dump those in their totes like that, or did, or
we
was
just
that the
rolled-
basis?
We just rolled it over and.
That's where we got the idea.
Must
maybe.
be.
Uh-huh.
Only we turned around to the line and,
Yeah.
and the guy worked right out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Idea exchange.
Remember them.
See, for some reason that elevator looks familiar.
Automatically lift. Oh. They did have those, a couple of them around the plant.
We had one of those out in the car assembly plant. That's probably
Yeah,
it
they
right
had
there,
more
isn't
than one.
Uh-huh.
They had one in building 20 at one time over against the wall, and it, whoever designed it didn't make it big enough. It wouldn't take a pallet load.
It wouldn't fit on the
Wouldn't take
elevator.
tape it on or
Okay.
pallet or something. It was
Gracious
screwed up. It sat there for a few years and they tore it out.
Threw it away.
Yeah.
It's the automatic handling of car batteries.
Oh, yeah.
The illustrated hydraulic elevator and pusher system. Whoops. That's just a write-up or something.
I don't know that I wrote that or not. I know
No picture with it.
I had to make a write-up on that thing one time. You remember that battery?
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
that pushed the whole
Yeah,
roll
rack
out.
of them. Yeah,
Mhm.
or a bunch of racks.
There's something we developed ourselves at Olds.
That's for
And
assembly
that was
work.
Joe, what's his name?
No, Joe Pole.
No, there's a foreman over there on the assembly line, and his wife worked there and putting up. Remember they had some of the license plate parts, screws.
Oh, yeah, that
and
little kit.
kit, yeah, she made them up like
Mhm.
this, just in a cup like that, you
They
know.
dumped them in a
little envelope,
Uh-huh.
and that's the way she.
Oh, yeah.
That's
And
what
this,
she done.
this thing here,
See, there's the little
Oh,
envelope
yes.
under there, and she
Okay.
just, think how fast she can do it compared to,
picking,
yeah.
yeah. So that was a kind of a methods improvement sort of
Yes,
thing.
it was. Jim Edwards was great on this.
Uh-huh.
Remember,
Yeah,
was you
I knew
around when he
him.
conducted a
Yeah.
class on this?
On methods kind of, I did not,
Stuff from University of
Yeah.
Iowa.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, but he gave us some good ideas. Don't use your hand for a fixture, you know.
Yeah,
and all that
yeah.
stuff, yeah.
so those are all part of that, then,
Yeah,
as an
that's-
improvement process that we
I
would go
can't
through.
think of that guy's name.
That's okay. And that's probably,
Can you-
sure.
Yeah.
All right, here is a group of model board pictures.
This is pretty much explanatory. We used to, every now and then change things around. We get so many stalls for the red pits and so many stalls for Fisher and so many stalls for the Ding Shop like that. And then next year we change it all.
You had your big argument with the superintendent out there. and the-
Fisher body
Uh-huh.
and yeah.
Okay, so these are all of that, they're actually the same photo.
It looks like it, doesn't it? There's a water test repair.
Yeah,
And,
okay, so that group is all the same photo.
that's all
right.
probably 75 or 32.
Mm-hmm. Down along that south wall. This must have
Yes.
been down here would have been the tire dock or something.
Yeah,
Back in the
right
later
in
days.
there, yeah. That brings back memories, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. See, those conveyors, Howard, this is the east end, or the west end, down there where the test rolls is, isn't it?
Yeah, they're heading for the test roll.
Mm-hmm. And there's your cross transfer off the end of the test rolls, is that what I'm seeing there? They would have come down here, cross transferred, got on the test rolls, and then came back here and came back.
Came back around.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. There's color paint.
That must have been your repair.
Color bake, yeah,
Uh-huh.
paint repair
Uh-huh.
line, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that would have been in the 50s probably, or someplace in there maybe.
I would think so, yes.
Another group of model board pictures. Oops, now there's a little bit of these little
So
fellows out
these
here.
were in 77, extreme west end. It was kind of a dungeon over in there.
Okay.
And I had all them racks put in, and I took pictures of it, and I took it up to Redburn, and I said, George, this looked like they was taking an Oldsmobile, and he looked at it, He thought it was Buick or something.
Because it looked so good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was really proud of that when I
Mhm.
put that in there. It
Mhm.
really gave them a lot of nice space, and
Yeah.
it looked good.
Yeah, okay. So the little pictures are that kind of thing.
Yeah, material handling, storage.
And then this group is still model board stuff. This is the end related to that one we were just looking at.
That's building 31.
Mm-hmm.
You were right.
Yeah.
31, I couldn't. And that's 11, buy offline, paint repair stall.
So this was
This was see, we had 3 lines
There were 3
coming out of
lines
there
there,
one
yeah,
time.
yeah.
We ended up with 1, didn't we?
Mm-hmm, I think so. We got rid of all of that, except then we may have
Because
had
line 11's the only one that
Yeah,
stayed in
yeah.
there when we tore that plant out. Yeah.
But those were repair, these I think were repair lines in here.
Yes. Yeah, all repair. Dash repair, polish buff, spec, final repair, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's that same picture. We were down in that same area where we were just a minute ago.
Mm-hmm.
This must be just working its way down the building, didn't
I
it?
think that's right.
Oh yeah, and there's... Okay, we're back on again. There's your loop. Howard, your loop.
There's a loop, yeah. Let's see, what one is it? Mechanical?
That's down at the east end.
Yeah, East End, yes.
You'll have to tell me about the loop sometime.
I remember
Weren't you there when we
went
did
on,
that?
yes, we went on several trips to see Cadillac and Atlanta. They all had loops before we did.
They would go around in a circle like that.
And we went to see them. And Mooney was afraid he was going to squeege all the tires or something, you know, going around there, but it didn't. It just went so nice.
Yeah. And those replaced cross transfers?
Cross transfers.
Wow, were the cross transfers a problem or
They used to
something?
pile up there now and then.
Did they?
You know, a car wouldn't get out of the way and slam into it. You have 2 wrecked cars.
Oh, gee.
Not too often, but if it got out of sequence,
Yeah.
which now and then it
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
This looks like axle plant again.
Axle plant, right.
Yeah, I can't read the little sign here on this one very well. It's a little bit out of focus, but that, I'm sure that must be axle plant.
Yeah.
It just has that
It's when
appearance.
they took out all of the single-purpose machines, and this machine here would do like 5 different things.
Yeah.
You know, drill, bore,
Uh-huh.
ream, counter face or spot face, chamfer.
And we were
This is
replacing,
indexed around.
you're replacing a lot of your single-purpose equipment
Yes,
at that
that
time?
could have been knuckles or knuckle supports.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
And, yeah, 'cause they used to run the stuff on pans, you know, tote pans
Yeah.
on a roller conveyor, and a guy would do one thing, burr, put them back in the pan here and shove them down, the next guy
The next-
chamfer and like
Oh,
that,
yeah.
and these guys.
Yeah.
John Howe and Pete Mitchell
Oh,
were,
okay. The
when
process.
we worked together, yeah. I had the layout of the whole thing, and John Howe had knuckles and knuckle supports and plane arms, and Pete had the rear axle.
Oh, yeah.
But I
Okay.
enjoyed working with them guys.
Yeah.
Boy, they were nice guys to work with.
Yeah.
You know?
Here is an
Now
axle.
that is
That looks like a truck
Oldsmobile.
axle.
No, somebody
Okay.
sent me pictures of demonstrating how to handle an axle, axle housing. Oh,
Now-
here,
Now that's ours, isn't it?
that's ours.
Yeah.
And we designed all of this under Jim Edwards,
Uh-huh.
and it plowed the axle out of the holder, out of
Yeah.
its fixture,
Yeah.
and put it up in position to pick it up and load it.
With the hook to hook it on the
Yeah.
conveyor.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Okay. So that's kind of the end of the line we're looking
That
at
was
there.
the end of the line, yeah,
Mhm.
that was right down there. There's the way it worked, and
Yeah.
here's the
Oh,
counterweight.
there's a counterbalance.
There's the
Uh-huh.
counterbalance. I'm trying to think of the guy that designed that, drew it.
Uh-huh.
I have to give him credit for it. He worked for me, but he developed.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
What the heck was his name?
Oops.
Oh, Bob Jenkins.
Bob
You
Jenkins.
remember Bob
No, I
Jenkins?
don't. I
You
do
don't?
not remember Bob Jenkins, because I wasn't there apparently.
Evidently not.
Mhm.
He left.
Mhm.
He
This is another part of the line, Howard?
that same thing.
Same general,
Yeah, this is, where is the, oh, this is showing it up, pre-positioned, or pre-positioned to do some operations just before it
Uh-huh.
end the line.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
This axle line was in 21, wasn't
21.
it?
Mm-hmm.
Going east and west, maybe?
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Yes, from west to east,
Uh-huh.
we ran Olds on it days and Pontiac nights.
Oh, did we assemble a Pontiac axle?
We made the Pontiac axle and shipped. No, wait a minute, that would be BOP. We made the Pontiac axle housing for
Okay.
years.
All right.
We ran our production days, and and when the plant went on 2 shifts, we had to run ours and BOPs.
Mm-hmm.
We'd run so many Olds, so many BOPs.
Mm-hmm.
Load them in the BOPs in the
No.
rail cars.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We would make axle housings for Pontiac.
For Pontiac.
And this,
And ourselves.
the
too.
differential was a Pontiac thing? Is that, do you know where the differential came from?
I don't know.
We
I
didn't
don't
make
remember now. We didn't make them. We got them from Pontiac or Buick. I think probably Pontiac.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Another shot of the axle line, same one, I think. It looks like it.
Yeah,
He's
looks
got
like
his arm up there.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Here's another photo of
The-
that big heavy.
That somebody sent me
Yeah.
that when we were. I don't know what that was.
There's a print from Buick. Pusher bar for a drag conveyor.
Oh.
Okay. I guess I won't even open that,
No.
okay? I'll just put it, whoops, what's that envelope there?
Oh, is that pusher bag?
There's a Buick. And there's a Buick. Oh, this is a corner conveyor,
Oh,
Howard.
that's where we went to see them going around. That's a BOP plant. See the.
Yeah, that's a big, well, it looks like a circle.
Yeah.
It doesn't have segments in it, does it?
Yeah, it does somewhere. Somehow it has to have.
I don't know what those are, pusher dogs and, huh.
We had a water test conveyor, remember, over in the corner, in the far end of 32, and the east end of 32.
Yeah, yeah.
And we always had so much trouble
That
with
you came in from outdoors.
from year to year. Yeah, they
Mhm.
went on that, went in the
Yeah,
water test.
Yeah.
And we had to do quite a lot of development on that carrier to carry the different cars.
Mhm.
To come up against the rear axle housing, the banjo.
Oh, yeah.
And
Pushed on the rear
press,
axle.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And everything wasn't just exactly the same,
Yeah, right.
tire pressure and everything else.
Flat tires, it would be dragging.
And
See, here's a Chevrolet equal air balancer. I remember equal air balancer. Must have been going through the process of starting these, Howard?
Yeah, you remember when we got into that? We handled hoods and batteries and all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff.
This is 1965.
Kind of a swing, they worked like that,
Yeah. Was that an attempt? Why were we doing that? The equal air balancer.
Well, it was the balancer was on this bridge. See, the bridge
Yeah.
was a disjointed thing. You could get a hold of one end of it and pull it down line, and the bridge would be on that.
Cockeyed.
Cockeyed, see.
Yeah.
But it was so easy to run, and it was a great advantage to the old rigid
Yeah.
I-beam kind.
Which would they
we
kind of
used.
get
Yeah.
hung up, wouldn't they?
Well, they were heavy,
Yeah.
terrible heavy. Yeah. Mhm. Somebody gave us the idea. We made a lot of it. There's something that.
There's a piece of
really-
information.
something.
1973 production data.
It goes way back
Yeah, it
to
does.
1900.
Goes back to the turn of the century.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I looked at that last night for a
Yeah,
while.
it's a
and
nice
it
piece
was
of
really
information.
Something to see.
And here's another book on GM20.
Oh,
Construction
kickoff meeting.
kickoff, Howard.
Yeah.
Now this is in '84.
Yes.
Now, you had retired, right, by then?
Yeah, and I was back working again.
Okay, so
Mhm.
this was after you had
I
left.
worked 83 and 84.
All right.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Who were you working for when you came back the second time?
Let's see, I went to work for Frank Fowler and Paul Pashasnik.
Oh,
I worked for
okay.
Paul.
All right. During that conversion, that whole conversion thing.
And then Paul retired in the interim, and what was that guy that took over? Took his place. Real nice guy. Hell of a nice fella.
Took over Paul's job. Trail? No, it wasn't Trail.
I'll think of it.
Yeah. Atlanta BOP. Oops, is this even open? Howard, I can't believe that.
Some of us got it.
There it is. Yeah. So this is all from the Atlanta plant. Why did we go down to those places?
Well, they were newer plants than ours, and they had some things that we wanted to see. Is this where we put the fenders?
Fender skirts and core support.
You see, when we went piecemeal on that front end, you know, I took out the merry-go-round.
And the drop.
And we dropped the fenders then come down on a conveyor.
All right.
Scheduled to come down here and go up over the line and touch the other side.
That's what these people apparently were already doing.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. We call it piecemeal assembly of the front end. Yeah.
So we did travel then fairly regularly to look at
in
how
the 50s and
how other
60s I
people
went
were.
to a lot of plants.
Went
to a lot of plants in the 50s and 60s, 70s. Yeah. And a lot of people come to visit us too.
Well, no, Howard.
Now there's a big Danley press. It's probably 301 or 2, is it? What was the...
Yeah, the north building of the two, anyway, Plant 3. Where the plating shop was.
Yeah. The big Danley press is there. And I put this into...
These bulk conveyors?
Yeah, and they moved along.
Oh yeah, a little like a conveyor
I
there.
think I worked for Bob Russell when I've done that.
That's 1966, it says, November.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's a series of, there it is.
There's a better
Stanley
picture.
Blanker Building 301.
301, yeah.
Okay.
Gosh, it was nice to meet a Mark.
Yeah, it was. Glad you did.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you never know.
For sure.
Here must be the model boards for...
What does it say? Over.
No. When all else fails, look on the back. Layout review of the rear axle, upper and lower control arm press and assembly. Plant 3. 1966. That must be when we were getting ready to move that stuff over there, huh?
Yeah, I worked on that from day one, pretty much.
Okay. And that was going...
We had to
in 66.
pre-plan that for months and build floats.
Why did we move all that over there? You remember what caused that?
I guess they just wanted to...
Was that the Tornado?
More room
Did
at the main plant, wanted more press space. Well, these are those great big Danleys, they're big shuttle dies.
Yeah.
They put a
Transfer
blank
die.
in there, transfer die, and they come out a control arm on the other end, upper or lower. And then the big Danleys are probably too big to go in the main plant. Big devils. Because I remember when Mooney come over one day and he took me out in the plant and says, "We're going to do this." He says, "I want you to find a place for these humongous presses."
Did he?
He come in personally and told me about the job, and then I worked on it. And then, like I say, it took a lot of pre-planning because we had to order the steel to make parts way ahead, control arms way ahead. So
you could shut the machinery off.
And move it.
I don't know what this is, Howard. I'd swear it was pistons, but maybe it isn't.
That is pistons, yes. I went over to Chevrolet, and I think that was a picture from Chevy.
This is a Chevy piston
Turning
stuff.
over.
A rollover. Okay, so that's
I
that
think
whole
that's
bunch
what
of
that
slide. Oh
was.
yeah, they're just full of pistons. Okay.
We done we come up with the same thing.
So you were working down on the piston floor for a period of time?
Working for Frank Fowler, and Maury got a little behind in his work, and I guess I was kind of caught up, and I never worked in the motor plant too much. Late years.
Yeah.
Not in the late years. Early years. When I first went layout, Henry Summer was a supervisor, and he would assign you axle plant, motor plant, sheet metal, all over.
So it was just
we
willy-nilly.
didn't have any area. I didn't have an area at all then.
You just worked on things as the press of business was.
That's right. Be in the motor plant, heat treat, press room, axle, assembly, wherever.
Okay. Well, I want to talk about that a little bit later on. See, this is the Cleveland gear reducer motor somewhere.
Oh, that was dragging the thing that dragged the bodies off in case the conveyor failed.
Oh, yes,
puller,
the winch.
Car puller winch, yeah.
At the body receiving.
Yeah, Don Gallen worked on that.
No, did he?
Mostly, yeah, mostly.
Okay.
It was my job, but my area, but
Don
Don
was kind of the guy.
Yeah.
Okay. This is baler hook. Oh, that must have been for handling those great big cardboard bales.
Yeah, great big cardboard bales.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's nice you got all these, because these are what I call kind of typical things that guys would have worked on.
Yeah, that's right.
See, is there a name on here? Bumper pusher bag pictures. Aha. There it is, Howard.
Yeah.
Your inflatable pusher bag.
Yeah, that saved a lot of cars.
Where'd we find that?
I saw it in a magazine and sent for literature on it, and talked to Bill Slachta, and he told me to order a bunch of them and try it out.
Yeah.
But the tin shop was always repairing them.
Oh, were they? Because they get them ripped?
They get ripped. God, they had a lot of them. They didn't get a big truckload of them. They take over a tin shop and repair. We had an awful bunch of them, but I think it paid off, because when a front end, like a 61, a beautiful front end, crushed into the back of another one, they had 2 wrecked cars, 2 damaged cars, and it took time to put them back in new shape again.
And bumpers were awful close to grills and things in those days.
They were, yeah.
See, this is 1964 model change, it says. This apparently construction out
That's
there?
where we tore out the engine scheduling system in the way up in the corner of
East
32.
end of 32.
We just gutted it.
Okay.
Put it in all new.
All right. And this is down along the line. It says bumper assembly line, building 21.
Yeah, that's...
Oh, was that when we were installing that conveyor system then for that?
Yeah.
Okay. Holy Pete, Howard, what are we digging here?
Let's
Cross
see.
transfer east end paint repair lines. 1963. What a hole!
Yeah, they did tore. They really looked like a...
God.
Got bombed, didn't it?
We're tearing it out? Is that what we're doing here? Must be.
Installing.
Installing.
Yeah.
That's in 63.
Yeah, I see they're shoveling, working. If it was tearing out, I think it would just be something in there clawing it out.
Okay. This is out in the yard under the bridge, body bridge. And here is, front fender subassembly. So that looks like it was up in building 16.
Yeah, we moved it up there.
Okay, 3rd floor to be exact, maybe.
3rd floor. Yeah.
Okay. And this is the core support subassembly area. That must be at 16 also.
That wasn't in there, yeah, was it?
No.
It was just, it was the core support and the fender assembly and all that.
Okay, so we were doing a major shuffle that year.
That was that piecemeal thing again.
Yeah.
They were scheduled right to the line.
Instrument panel packaging. Oops. Okay. Now, were you doing this, or was the packaging guys doing this?
I was in on the handling at least.
Okay.
Something. No, I didn't do any packaging.
So that was
I
something
think that pictures was taken to demonstrate.
to show the
I don't know why we took the pictures, but
the new approach.
something.
See. Does that say inner plant?
Yeah. INNER, inner plant.
Oh, I see.
Packaging,
It's
inner
for
plant.
shipping inside the plant.
Evidently it was, yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of vague in my mind right now.
All right.
Gate separators, that's the size there. Must be I had that information to build build material handling for
Yeah,
the roller conveyors or something.
Okay.
Like, I'll never forget it. Dave Lee, when we was demonstrating over in 90, you know, the mating of the
Body and
underbody
the-
and the body coming together, you know,
the
and it
chassis,
was
yeah.
sailing there nice. Bruce Kopp was kind of engineer on that
yes,
job.
he sure was.
There was all the big shots of
Oh, yeah.
Oldsmobile was in there, and Dave Lee says, "Hey Howard," he says, "whatever happened to roller conveyor?"
Right. It sure was a far cry from that, wasn't it?
Yeah. I see Dave quite often.
I remember we did that. That was a
He lives out not far from there, and
Yeah.
I see him over the store now.
that was a unique thing that Bruce did there. That really
Yes,
was nice.
it was. I think some engineering company done it, but
Well,
he,
but he
Was,
whatever.
it had to
Yeah,
work.
right.
They pointed a finger at Bruce. Yeah.
If it didn't work, you knew who was going to get.
Yeah. He's at Fisher now.
I'd heard that. Yeah. It's a rear axle assembly carrier. So this must be the hook we were working on.
Evidently.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Guess it goes that way.
I think that was
Mhm.
back when I was working for
Okay.
who was it? Can't say his name now.
Here's Chevrolet Atlanta again. Bunch of pictures down there. Oh, they must have had an automated storage system up overhead, didn't they? At Atlanta, apparently.
Yeah, that's car body handling.
Yeah, up overhead.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I won't spend a lot of time on that because it really is not.
They had
It's
an
just-
automatic body drop too.
These were all things that you went out to
See,
look at to
yeah.
see if we could adapt or use at our place.
Right. Let's see that particular thing there. We was trying to revamp our body receiving and storage system. You know,
That was 1962.
that was a long time ago. Now,
Sure
I mean,
was.
I worked on it after that. While I was working for you, I had done quite
Oh,
a
yeah.
run on that.
Body-
remember?
body receiving was
Body
a-
receiving.
yeah,
We had
big
it all.
headache.
A lot of places. It's still there.
Yeah.
Still there. Concept is the same. And Mike Green developed the early stages of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1986. For some reason.
I don't know why that's in there. I mean, it's just
It's there.
86.
Yeah, 86.
I thought maybe there's a picture in there that they wanted or something. I didn't know.
I don't know. I'll have to read through and see what it says.
Well, there's the guy that's gone.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
I'm glad they quit that.
Here's a piece out of the
Yeah.
Assembly Information Manual or something.
Yeah, that was
Showed how to.
assemble that.
Oh, okay. This is the front end for a front wheel drive. This is
GM20
like a
car.
GM20, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this part here, I was sub-assembling right and left hand and
Okay.
feeding to the line.
Mhm. So those were the things that you were working on.
Right, and where to put it. I had different ideas on where to put it. Plan to
Mhm.
see feeding.
Oh yeah.
in here.
All right. So these are your.
This is another plan. Another plan.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting down to the bottom here, down to another notebook.
Well, there is something.
see.
Yeah, it's gotta go
Goes this
this way.
Okay. Hi, boss. Having the same order for a drink?
Yeah.
1916, or December 16th.
Mm-hmm. That
John
was
Sawyer.
John Sawyer, yeah.
Uh-huh,
Mhm.
okay. Here's a map. Bunch of maps on how to get there. A Wankel engine article. Couple of curved dashes.
The war,
Right.
World War,
Right, Japanese
Two.
guy.
yeah.
And a bunch of building cross
Oh,
sections.
there's
Oh, yes,
all of
okay, good. Those
The
are
old
good,
ones,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
those are
all
nice.
the main,
Yeah.
the old buildings,
And
the
here's,
original buildings, I should say.
here's a few of these old maps,
And
Howard.
there's Roy May.
Mm-hmm.
I remember him,
Do you?
yes.
Where was he? He was a
He
plant
was
engineer
in,
guy?
he was in Plant Layout, worked for Henry
Plant layout.
Summers.
Uh-huh.
And then Roy ended up over in maintenance.
Did he?
As a painter.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But he made that map back, and he said in here, the scale, something about
Yeah,
this cute
yeah,
little,
right.
cute little something
Such a
there.
small scale, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are nice to
And
have.
there is a black and white.
Oh, yes. Uh-huh.
Wait a minute, is that the same thing?
Yeah, I think
It
it's the
is,
same
yeah.
thing, just
Uh-huh.
blown up a little. This is
Uh-huh.
shrunk down a little bit. Howard, did you remember any of these old buildings?
Oh, yes, yes. See, I worked in the shipping room in 34. At the time, they tore, let's see, where am I? Is 40 there?
No, 40's not there yet, see?
No. Well, it was, 40 was right there, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm, somewhere in there, yeah.
40 and 38.
Mhm.
Yes, I helped help vacate some of these buildings to tear them down.
Okay.
That's 27B,
Yeah.
that built right on out.
Mm-hmm.
But this all become, what was it, 90?
37.
37,
Yeah,
yeah.
uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
So all of these
But I
old
remember when
buildings
plating department was right in here.
in old, one
1A or 1B in there somewhere.
or 6 or one of those places.
When I hired in, I worked in building 20.
Okay.
And I started in my first day, August 22nd, 1933. And I
All
started
right.
work in building 20. And
What were you doing
Main
up
floor.
there?
well, there was a little shed attached to the building, and
Yeah.
the axle plant was in building 38. And they
Okay.
brought the axles over on a Fordson tractor with trailers.
Mm-hmm.
And they were in schedule, in sequence.
All right.
And we'd pick them off and put them on the line, a feeder line, took them inside the building. That was the first job I had.
So you were actually outdoors?
It was a tin shed,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
And the trailer would come into the shed and
Mhm.
you'd pick,
didn't go on around.
Mhm. and you had a monorail conveyor that
Come out
that
and
came
picked
out.
them up, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I worked with an old guy, they call him the Human Derrick, George Feeney. And,
Human Derrick. How did he get that name?
because he could lift the rear axle off the line and hang it up.
All by himself?
Yeah,
A
I-
whole rear
Yeah,
axle?
I did too when he wasn't around.
God, how much did those things weigh?
I don't remember, it must have been, close to 100 pounds. You see, I was right off the farm and I
Yeah.
worked in the hay fields and everything, and I could pick them up and put them on the
Yeah.
line myself.
Uh-huh.
Didn't want to do it very often, but
Yeah.
we didn't have any provisions back then for a break. There's nothing,
Okay.
Somebody had to go. You didn't
You
have a
didn't-
partner.
What did you do?
Done it myself.
I mean, ran fast, huh?
Yeah, oh
Uh-huh.
yeah, faster than heck, yeah.
You didn't have a hoister to use for handling those things?
There was a hoist, but if he was working alone, you get beyond the hoist.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have to run and carry part, hanging out. Yeah.
Ever miss one?
No? Oh boy. God, they didn't tell with you back then. In
Yeah.
those days, yeah. That's 33.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So you didn't want to miss one?
No, we didn't either.
Do you remember what you hired in at, Howard?
About 46 cents an hour in bonus.
Now, how'd the bonus thing work?
Well, I don't know what the quota was or anything. I don't remember any
Yeah.
figures, but if you built so many cars, you got a bonus.
Okay.
And if you didn't build them all, why, your bonus dropped down. Sometimes we didn't get hardly any bonus at all.
But you would get
If
the
line was
46
stopped,
cents.
we get our 46 cents,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Okay.
Seemed to me it averaged out around 60 cents an hour.
With the bonus.
with
Uh-huh.
average,
Uh-huh.
kind of average
Yeah.
out about 60 cents an hour. But
Now you came in 33, Howard. That was kind of right in the middle of the Depression, wasn't it?
just coming out of it a little
Uh-huh.
bit, yeah. Mhm.
They were hiring guys then, apparently, to.
Well, a fella helped me get in.
Okay.
Yeah, a guy named Everett Labar went to jail for alimony, and
Yeah.
I got a job.
What was that?
See, Mike Minow and Bud Brannell and Henry Summer and a bunch of them guys was pulling for me to get in,
Okay.
and they got me. That's about the way you got a job.
So you sort of had to know somebody, in a sense.
In other words, had a little pull.
Yeah.
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 Do you remember where the employment office was when you came in? That.
It was in down in the corner of basement of 60.
60 was there.
It would be
Okay.
the southwest corner.
Yeah.
33. See, that building was put up about 28 or 29.
Right. Right.
Because my aunt and uncle sold their home to General Motors to build a house, or to build
To build that building?
that office. They sold their home to
Oh, okay.
General Motors.
So they lived down there by Townsend Street in that
Yes,
area.
yeah. Yeah, just about where the steps were.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Okay. How long did you stay in the assembly plant there then?
Let's see, 33 through 37.
Did you stay down there handling axles, or did you move
No,
around?
no, I
Of Howard E. Glossop of Grand Ledge, Michigan. The recording was made by Jim Walkinshaw of the Oldsmobile History Center at the Oldsmobile History Center at 4000 North Grand River in Lansing on April 18th, 1989. This is tape number 2 of 3 tapes. Okay, so you worked on tie rods for how many years, Howard?
about 34 through 37.
Oh, okay.
On tie rods.
And what, did you have an air wrench or what?
Yes. The tie rods came from Thompson Product in a like a gun,
All
an
right.
old-fashioned steel gun
Yeah.
with ends on it, and just full of tie rods.
Just all willy-nilly in there, or were they
Just
racked up?
laid in. They were
Uh-huh.
just laid in there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then did you had a bolt, you had to bolt them on?
Yeah,
or-
you take the tie rod off the rack, unscrew the nut, put it in, screw the nut on, same way here, and pull an air wrench down, tighten up.
Tighten up the nut.
And then we had a wrench we carried in our apron, about that long, a pipe panel wrench for adjusting to get the cotter pins in. We had to key them too.
So you had to put your own cotter pin in?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
So after the air wrench took it up, you had to take it another little part of a turn?
Pull it up, yeah, we didn't go backwards, you had to go forwards.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mhm.
Was there any discussion of having to have the right torque and all that kind of stuff in those days, or didn't they worry about that
You
stuff?
didn't, I guess there wasn't a torque. I know one time the boss come and told me they dot to back one up because they found one kind of loose.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
I says, well, if you want them tighter, Glenn, you'll have to get me a longer handle wrench.
Oh, yeah.
He says, if you don't want to tighten them up, there's plenty of guys over there in the employment office, waiting to do it. I said, well, just get me a longer wrench.
Another hint.
Next day he come down, he took a double-end wrench and burned it in half.
Yeah.
Put a pipe,
Oh, yeah.
raised some pipe on
Uh-huh.
it, you know, like half-inch
Yeah.
pipe.
Yeah.
Boy, they were just right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Where was that assembly, where was that job in the building, Howard, at that time?
In building 20,
Okay.
and the
Up
main,
towards the
main
north
floor, right there. The frame yard was out in here, still.
South of the building,
Yeah,
21.
they brought them in, they
Okay.
brought the frames in on trucks into this end, put them on hung them up on the frame line. They went down through some cold riveters that riveted the step hangers on,
All right.
running board
Yeah,
hangers,
yeah.
and a battery box.
Okay.
And then they set it on a pipe slide
At the north end.
at the north end.
So it
went-
was
and
really
went-
going north,
and
and it was going north, wasn't
It
it?
was going from south to north, and then they set them down, set the frame down on a pipe slide,
Yeah.
and it went around like that,
Around the corner heading
around
east.
the corner, heading east.
Okay.
And then they put on, the rear springs, rear axle, gas tank, and, tie rods up front, and the front suspension.
Okay. Was it all upside down then? The
Upside down,
frame was
yeah.
upside down.
Uh-huh. And,
How did it move on the pipe rails?
by hand.
You just
We moved it
pushed
by hand. When we got our job done, we moved it down, and they got another one. Yeah,
Oh.
that was hand push, hand pull and push.
Yeah.
And then the guy here flipped it over.
Was that done manually too?
That was a hoist, and you throw a chain around it. You would
Okay.
balance it and turn it over nicer neck, set it on the conveyor here that took it down.
That was heading south.
And the conveyor running south, they put on like brake lines, and they painted it then.
Oh, did they? Was
Yeah,
that in a booth or
In
just
a booth, they went
okay.
through a booth, and the guy sprayed it.
All right.
And
Did it have tires on yet?
no, the wheels and tires went on right down here.
Towards the end of
Yeah.
20.
See, the
All
wheel
right.
room was in the basement of 20 back then.
Oh, all right.
And then they'd come up through the floor,
On a little
a
elevator?
little elevator,
Uh-huh.
and the guy would bounce it, put it on there,
Bouncy dart.
bounce it up, put it on the wheel.
Did
and
you have an
nearly-
elevator on each side of the line then?
Yeah.
Each side?
And then here, it took him down a little ramp, and Leonard McCollar, I knew him real well, put a crank on, there wasn't no steering wheel on,
Yeah.
he put a crank on and steered it over onto the final line here in
All right.
building 16A.
So it went through the wall there between
Went
the
through
two
the
buildings?
wall, yeah. Yeah, that patch is still there where
Yeah.
that wall was
Yeah.
patched up. And then it run clear down through here.
So the
to the-
transfer from that was done by just rolling it on its wheels?
Mhm.
Was it pushed by hand? Or did it have
It went down a ramp and it kind of
coasted?
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Leonard was pretty good at that.
Uh-huh. Well, did it have its engine yet? Didn't have the engine yet?
Yeah, the engine was in.
Okay.
Old Jumbo. Remember Leo Lee?
No?
Or Leo Scott?
No?
Jumbo, he's a great big guy. He scheduled the engines. The engines come in up here, and they just, along the aisle, they just have a row of them with 6 and 8 cylinder engines, and he'd pull them out, and
They were on a trailer or just
Mm.
sitting there?
they come over on a trailer and
All right.
come in with a hoist and went into overhead storage rail here.
Okay, so they were
Yeah.
storing them on hooks, hanging
Mhm.
on...
Yeah,
Okay.
and that come down this way, and they just set the engine in.
All right, so it's followed along going towards the north and paralleled the line. Did they do work on it, on the
And
engine?
didn't, not much. in
Did it
those
have the
days.
transmission on it? Can you remember?
Let's see, did it have? I think it did, yeah.
So it came from the engine plant with a transmission on
I
it?
think it did, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Okay.
it did.
All right.
And yeah, the line was going this way, and the engines was
We're
feeding
going
down this way,
backwards,
coming down
opposite,
and feeding
uh-huh.
on, yeah.
Yeah.
And then it go clear down here.
Now, where was body drop, Howard?
The body drop was just in the, let's see, 16. It must have been right here.
Just inside of 16A?
Oh, no, wait a minute. No, it wasn't. It was here. Because Leonard,
Okay.
now let me think carefully. It went through that wall. And then Leonard put it over there on that final line,
Mhm.
and then they dropped the body. I think the body drop must have been about in there.
Okay, sort of in the middle of 16A.
16A, I
Uh-huh.
think it was, yeah.
Was the body storage up on the second
The body
floor?
storage is in 20
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it was all in 20 then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where was the body being made when you first came there?
Over here in 26.
Okay.
pressure body.
They were actually building the
just-
bodies
yeah,
right there.
they just pushed them through the wall.
Uh-huh.
to-
Did you ever get up into the body plan at all? Just
No, I
wander?
never did.
Okay.
No, I never, of course, when you're on production, you
Yeah, you didn't have
go
time,
you didn't
yeah.
have time, and
Yeah.
when you got out of work, you would go run around
Yeah.
anywhere.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they must have had a woodworking plant, and wasn't there a lot of wood in there? Well, no.
There was,
some in those
until,
days.
let's see, 36 was about the
When
first
you went
steel.
to all steel body. Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They must have had a lot of woodwork over there in 33, 34,
Yeah.
35.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, what else then as you went further south down 6?
Mhm.
Was this on a flat top, or what kind of a conveyor was that? Do you remember? What was moving
It
the
was
car?
a drag chain, and the wheels were guided by wood planks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
something like this, you know,
On an angle.
on an angle.
Uh-huh.
And then there was pits in the floor where the
Okay.
guys would work underneath.
All right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I never forget it. On rainy days, or snowy days in the winter, when people couldn't get to work, anybody that was there that had any line experience or otherwise even, they'd take them over and put them on the line so they could build
Just
cars.
so they keep it running.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So when I worked in the shipping room, I used to now and then get called over on a
Mhm.
snow day to
Mhm.
work
Mhm.
work in the line.
Mhm.
I'd come through, there was a ramp going up in 16A here.
Okay.
And I'd walk up that ramp and scoot through that little door.
Yeah.
Paul George be standing there. He'd say, "You Glossop," he says, "you son of a bitch, you get in that pit." He always put me in a pit to work.
So the bosses just sort of put you wherever the hell they
Oh
wanted
yeah,
to.
yeah, oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
You was lucky to be there.
Yeah.
In those days, you
Yeah.
were just lucky to be there. Yeah, you get in that pit, Glossop.
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah.
And
So the big push was to
maybe I
keep
wouldn't
the,
get them all, but I'd get most of them.
Yeah, the push was to keep the
Keep
line
the
running.
line running, yeah.
Okay.
I imagine the repairmen are going nuts.
Yeah, probably would be. Yeah.
'Cause
No training. On
No,
people?
I just go in there and I had a pair of pliers with a slot in it, and
Yeah.
I would hook up a clutch return spring.
Yeah.
And that was one thing I did.
Yeah.
Was up there where the
Yeah.
pedals, the clutch and brake pedal shaft
Yeah.
was mounted up in there, and there was
Uh-huh.
springs, you know.
Yeah.
I'd hook-
Keep them pedals out.
I had to hook them
Mhm.
springs up.
Mhm.
Boy, when you slip off, your hand would be
Bang.
like beefsteak.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Take me down a little further. What kept on going
let's
as you went
see.
down?
Well, you got down in here, 16C, then they drove off of there over into test rolls,
Okay.
and then over here
So
into...
the test rolls were kind of in the
They were
like
right
in
in there.
16D or
Yeah, they were in 17A, I guess that'd be
Okay.
right there.
All right.
It'd be right about 2 right there.
Uh-huh.
And then they went up there onto the final paint repair.
Which was up sort of going, was that in the 19 area or was that out in 25?
That was in, oh, wait a minute, I'm wrong. They went up, if it was a good car, it went right out this door here.
Right on the west side of
Yeah,
the
that
building.
remember
Uh-huh.
the door on an angle
Yeah,
up in
yeah.
there? If it was a good car, no repair work, they went
Mhm.
right out. If it was paint or mechanical,
It went north.
it went up here, maybe back here, up
Uh-huh.
here and back here.
Yeah, all right. So it went
I
up
think it did.
25 and came back 19
I
maybe.
think so,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
All
Then
right.
they had booths there, repair booths and
Okay.
stalls, I mean.
All right.
That's before this became a assembly plant over here,
Yeah.
you know, 3275.
Okay.
Yeah. They were there, but they were car shipping buildings,
Okay.
rail shipping. See, each building, 3275 had it, so it had 2 tracks.
Mm-hmm.
There was four spurs come into those 2 buildings,
Okay.
and they were long and a whole lot of rail cars.
Those were all box cars.
Box
weren't
cars,
they?
and they'd put, let's see, a car in the end, car in each end. Then they'd let down a ramp and run a car up here and a car up here, and then they set one in the middle.
Mhm.
So they had 5 cars in one box car.
Okay.
Mhm.
Hmm. Was everything shipped by rail, Howard? Or
Well, then trucks were coming in. trucks are beginning to come in.
Okay.
Yeah, and that Sobers, well, Sobers had people and they went in fleets.
Yeah.
You know, they come in a bus and take cars out to Sobers, come back and get another load.
Yeah.
And haul away cars like that.
In those early days, Howard?
But a lot of them went by rail. And then we had quite a overseas shipment too. They knocked down cars.
Export kind of stuff.
Yeah, export.
Uh-huh.
Both ways. Cars, they take them over there, take the wheels off, and crunch the springs down.
Yeah.
And put that car in a box. In a box that wasn't much higher than that.
Oh, be darn. So they box the whole darn thing up?
The wheels.
Yeah, all
the
in the
wheels
box.
are underneath the car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then the reason I know that, I worked over in there one year when the BOP shipping went down early, and I had seniority. They put me over there to work.
Where was that? Was that out 32?
3275.
They were doing that box work. Huh?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I worked for an old guy named Bert Morton.
Bert Martin. Huh?
And I worked, I was leaned over the line to talk to my buddy Clyde a minute, and Bert says, Howard, we don't allow any talking over here.
Really?
Oh, yeah. That was back in them days, man.
So nobody
It was work.
Nobody is all work and no play, so to speak.
Yes, it was.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
What when you were working up on the assembly line, Howard?
Yeah.
Now the cars, were we running all year, or did we shut down, or how did we do that?
Oh, they build cars. Let's see. Like in '34, I worked in '33 for just a few weeks, and I was laid off.
Okay.
Nothing. No, nothing.
Yeah.
My buddy and I played in taverns that winter for money.
Okay.
Uh-huh. And,
musical instrument.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Beer had just come in, see? And boy, we had a big time. We had a big time.
Yeah.
There wasn't any taverns. We played in restaurants.
Yeah.
Restaurants had beers.
Yeah.
You know, we
Yeah.
played in restaurants.
Okay.
Had a lot of fun.
So how long
But-
would you have been off?
Well, then I was off till the 15th of January.
The following year.
Yes. I think the line started a little earlier than that, but I didn't have a lot of seniority. And another guy and I went out to see Glenn Mitchell one night,
Yeah.
see when we get back to work. He said, I'm going to get you guys back right away. You know?
Yeah.
And that was in '34, January 15th. And we worked probably through off and on. We'd have short days, 6-hour days. A lot of times just 5-6 hours.
They would call you in and you'd work and then they'd shut her down and send you home.
Send us home, yeah.
Would they give you any excuse why? Or?
Oh, just they build what cars they needed or wanted, and that was it. They used to say, well, something went haywire at Fisher, or we broke a drive chain or something, they'd send us home. But we always figured that they did. They built all the cars they wanted.
An excuse.
Yeah. Glenn would, if the line stopped anytime, you'd look down at Glenn's desk. If he got up and went like this, that meant go home. Go home. All done.
I'll be darned. Waved his
Otherwise,
hands. Waved his hands, huh?
But when they wanted cars, they didn't care how long we worked.
They would work more than 8 hours.
Oh yeah, 10 hours even.
Did you get paid overtime, or was
no,
it? No, it was.
No overtime.
It was just a straight time for the hours you worked.
Yes. No time and a half
Yeah.
or anything. Just
And if you worked 6 hours, you just got paid 6 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you was 3 minutes late, you was docked a half hour.
Wow.
So you'd bill cars for 27 minutes for nothing.
Free.
Yeah.
So did people pretty much respond to that? I mean, did they come?
had to. I mean, if you wanted a job.
Yeah. How did people get fired or that sort of thing on a willy-nilly basis, or how did?
34 was the first full year I put in. And the Olds put out I always call it a report card.
Yeah.
At the end of the year, a goldenrod yellow sheet.
Yeah.
They had the 10 qualifications of a good Olds maker.
Oh yeah.
And you was graded.
Okay.
If you got a yellow one,
yeah,
you was come back. But if you got a white one, it was all done.
Really?
But back in them days, Olds was very fussy about who worked there. If you was garn sheet or alimony or things that had any trouble.
Yeah.
One time there was a guy who worked on a line across from us and got caught peeking in windows.
Oh, jeez,
At
yeah.
the end of the year, he got a white one.
That was the end of him,
And
huh?
him, yeah.
Uh-huh.
He worked on the rest of the year
Yeah.
under duress.
Who filled out the thing? The boss? I mean, the foreman?
I imagine
Uh-huh.
my boss. See, I worked for Glenn Mitchell. I worked for Fred Homeyer, which is an old timer.
Yeah.
He was probably a friend of Bud Brandl's.
Okay.
Do you remember Bud Brandl?
Only the name.
The
Did
name,
not know
yeah.
it, yeah.
Carl Brandl was
Yeah.
his brother,
Yeah.
who was the head of the parts and service,
Yeah.
service parts. But first foreman I worked for, Glenn Mitchell, and then Fred Homeyer come on. I bet he was in his 70s, the
Wow.
foreman.
How did those guys,
Old guy.
how did they manage people in those days, Howard? Did they, I mean, how did they treat folks like yourself?
They didn't mistreat you, really,
Okay.
but you just had to, you knew you had to be right on the ball. You knew you had to be, or they wouldn't stand for no
There was
fooling around.
no fooling around, no BS.
No,
Uh-huh.
no. It was, I always liked working at Olds.
But people, they weren't mean, so to speak, or?
There was some foreman that'd be overbearing. Old Spence upstairs there, he was an
Uh-huh.
overbearing
In the
old
body
guy.
area. Uh-huh.
I suppose Paul George was overbearing in his way,
Yeah.
but if you got to know him, he wasn't. He
Yeah.
just talked terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. How about working conditions themselves in the plant? Were they, how would you?
Not real good. When I hired in '33, they had signs all over, no running. But if
Okay.
you had to go to the can, you had to run down there and back, get somebody to take your place for a minute, if you could.
Uh-huh.
We had one relief, not a relief man, he was a kind of a setup man, all around guy. And
Yeah.
if somebody was off, he done their job. But you could get him to take your job for a few minutes.
How did you just wave him down, so to speak?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Before I knew better, I got, his name was Oscar Moore.
Uh-huh.
I got him to take my place, and I went down to the men's room. I was gone 4 minutes, and that was at far end of
Yeah.
building 20.
Uh-huh.
And when I got back, Glenn Mitchell stood there at his watch. He says, Howard, he says, you was gone 4 minutes. He says, if you're on, he says, you go to the can before you come to work or after you get out of work.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. What did he expect? Howard, how about lunch? Did you have a lunch?
We had
time?
1 hour, and you remember down in under 26, there was kind of a dungeon down
Yeah,
in
that
there.
little,
Dungeon area.
Yeah, basement.
Well, that was our lunchroom.
Oh my goodness.
And it was just terrible smoky. Everybody smoking. The guys back in them days play euchre and eat their sandwiches
Yeah.
and smoke all at the same time. And you couldn't see the fire in the building for smoke.
No ventilation.
Well, no. So
Yeah.
what they did is put a big fan down the back end, a great big old fan.
Blow it out?
Blow it out. Yeah.
Was there any smoking allowed in the plant?
No, you just could not smoke anywhere, only in the lunchroom at Loon.
What did guys do?
They didn't.
But
They snuck them.
they snuck them.
Tried to.
Uh-huh.
I worked with a guy over here in 3275 parking cars,
Yeah.
To get ready for
Yeah.
shipping out, for rail shipping, and I didn't smoke. I never would. I was afraid.
Yeah.
But he would get me to watch for him while he got a little smoke.
I'll be darned.
But the boss would go up and sit in a car anywhere in that area,
Yeah.
and just look around for smoke,
Uh-huh.
or look around for horseplay.
Was the reason for that because of fire, or did they have a reason, or was it just...
I think it was probably fire. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember who superintendent was?
Earl Cunningham
Earl Cunningham?
over in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Earl
That was in
Cunningham.
the shipping area?
Yes.
Uh-huh, okay.
And I worked for Lauren Corwin, who was Babe Corwin's brother.
Oh, yeah.
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 Well, did you know Lauren?
I knew Babe, I didn't know
No,
Lauren.
Lauren. Lauren.
How about, who was superintendent out in the car assembly plant, Howard?
Mike Minnow.
Minnow was there then?
I think Brandel had just left the job
Okay.
not too many years,
Uh-huh.
and Minnow was the superintendent.
All right.
Yeah, I worked
Okay.
for Mike Minnow for a long time.
Yeah.
hmm
Well, what happened?
I went and told him one time, Mike, I says, I hadn't been there too long, but I didn't like it on the line, of course.
Yeah.
And I went up to his office one morning before work. I said, Mr. Minnow, I says, I'd like to get off this line. He says, why? He says, I don't think you fellas have got it too bad anymore here. He says, we used to work the devil out of them. But he says, now we're making little money and we don't work the guys as hard as we used to.
Oh, really?
I went back to the line.
Uh-huh.
He didn't want to lose a good man that was broke in and worked and trained.
Where was his office at that time? How do you remember where that was?
Yeah, I sure do. Do you remember where the first aid was in Building 20?
Back in this spot, in this kind of this open area
Yeah, when
between
they
the two?
filled that in.
21A, sort
Well,
of.
when I hired in, Mike Minnow's office must have sat right in that corner.
Right where that
in
little
there.
triangle
Yeah, because
space
this
is.
wasn't filled in then.
All right.
See,
Yeah.
you had your little office right there.
Yeah, okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Where'd you park? Did you drive or how'd you get to
Yes,
work?
I parked up here, and they had just cut the woods down.
Where was the woods?
All, let's see, let me orient here, right in here.
So kind of up at the
It's
corner of
woods.
Logan and,
Yeah,
and
uh-huh.
Olds Avenue.
That right in there was parking for us guys.
Uh-huh.
We worked here,
Yeah?
and they left the stumps up about that high.
Oh my goodness.
And one morning, I was in a hurry and I ran into a stump.
Oh no.
I had a Model B Ford,
Yeah.
B,
Yeah.
not an A
Yeah,
or
right.
T, but
Yeah.
a B, and I ran into a stump and just wowed that axle in like that, and my wheels went in
Oh,
just like
no.
that.
Oh God.
I got out, looked at it, and I thought, I have to have this car to get to work. So I didn't go in. I went down to Scientific Brake,
Yeah.
and they straightened it for $5.
I'll be
Cole straightened it, and I
Yeah.
come back, parked it, and went into work. And Glenn was mad.
Yeah.
But I told him what happened, and I said, I got to get to work every day, so I figured I might, so long as I'm out here, get it fixed. Well, I guess so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Great.
he agreed with me.
Yeah.
He was a good guy. I went to school with his daughter, so he kind of always thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's told me one time, he says, I'm glad to see better educated people getting in here. Because there was some awful wallopers.
Were there? Uh-huh. Did you get any?
But I was just graduating high school. I wasn't highly educated or anything.
Well, but in that day, it was
a lot
lots.
more, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? How long did you stay then out in the car assembly world, Howard?
End of the 37 run.
37.
Yes.
Okay.
Then I went to the shipping room to work.
Which was over in this old building?
34, building 34.
Okay, so you moved
I went
over into 34.
34.
Go get another map.
I went to work for Ken Smith.
Ken Smith.
And Bill Wilcox, Roy Ehlers. You remember any of those names?
No, don't remember a single one of them.
Roy Ehlers, Bill Wilcox. They were our superintendents.
That would have been, here's a map of, let's just out of the road here.
And
There's building 34.
right there, yeah. And the front end of that was right there, was the central inspection.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Central inspection. And Bert Adams was kind of head of that.
Uh-huh.
Remember Bert?
No.
No.
What was in the rest of the building?
This was all shipping.
And you were, what kind of parts were you shipping?
All auto parts, the BOP.
But like fenders?
Linden, California is all they had then. Fenders,
Okay.
hoods.
Bolts and nuts, would you
Yes,
do that
that
too?
all went LCL, you know,
Okay.
shipping, and that's where the kegs out in the plant.
Yeah, that we were-
They bring us great
Uh-huh.
racks of kegs, empty kegs,
Mm-hmm.
and we would
Where did you ship
Parts.
out of? These railroad tracks right here,
These
along
tracks
the west
here,
side? Uh-huh.
and then back in those days, we sent a lot of stuff Air Express.
Air?
I worked overtime many a night shipping to Air Express.
In the 30s?
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Isn't
Late
that
30s.
something?
Late
Yeah.
30s.
Uh-huh.
But if there was any shortages, we shipped, you know, any shortage of any parts they had to have
Huh.
right now. Air Express went out for there every night.
I'll be darned.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now, was this a dock out here then along the
This
building?
wasn't enclosed at all then.
It was just outdoors?
Outdoors.
The railroad track out?
This is the building right here.
34, yeah, that one right
yeah.
there. Uh-huh.
And the executives up here parked along here.
Okay, the Building 40 people parked
Building
outside
40,
of Building
yeah,
40.
just
Uh-huh.
the ones that always parked in here.
Yeah,
But, you know, supervisors,
Yeah.
supervision parked in here.
okay.
And, but the electrical department was downstairs there at one time.
This is in 40 now, or in 34 you're talking?
No, about 37.
Okay.
See, when the line went down, I would come over and work
Okay.
for the electrical department, for Ernsberger, Benson. Remember
Okay.
them guys?
Benson, I remember the name.
You
yeah.
don't remember
No.
Ernsberger?
No.
Ernie Ernsberger.
He was in the electrical department.
Yeah, I worked in there. I spent some time in
Was
there.
that over here in 34 or 40 area?
Yeah, that was in basement in 40 here.
In 40, okay.
Yeah, it was
that
upstairs
on
and then it moved down.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been like in the late 30s, Howard?
37,
Okay.
38. Mm-hmm.
Building 40 have a second floor in it at that time?
It had, let's see, had light wells, 3 light wells in here. 1, 2, 3. The cafeteria was upstairs here.
All right.
And here was a light well, a light well, and a light well.
So the center
The stores F was over here.
along the west side,
Mm-hmm. And
Okay.
over here was
east side,
the electric department was up here,
okay.
along here. And then back in here
The south end.
was, let's see, what would you call it? Time study and tool design, die design.
Okay.
It's kind of like building where he grew up and took
Yeah.
the whole thing, but it was just a little shrunk up
Yeah.
then.
Were there walkways across the open space, so to speak?
No, you had to go around to the.
But you said 3 light wells.
Well,
so
building 40 was 50.
the big wide spacing in the middle.
Yeah, that was the light wells.
But how about north to south? You had 3 of them apparently.
Yeah, there'd be a bay somewhere, or
Where
part
you-
of
where
a
you
bay
could go
where you could
across.
go across.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
because we used to go up here and string when we got stuff out of stores F, we had nails in the floor, you know, about 100 feet of them. So measure wire
Oh, uh-huh,
Mhm.
yeah, uh-huh,
yeah.
okay.
But-
And you said the cafeteria was in the north end?
North end and run by Miller, Esri Miller.
All right.
Not Esri. What was his name? Miller. You remember Miller?
Well, I remember a lot of Millers, but probably not that one.
Uh-huh.
Was the tool room downstairs then?
Yes. Up I think it was in the front end mainly.
Okay.
And then stores F receiving was down here.
Was in the back end.
downstairs. Yeah, the
All
back
right.
end.
Okay.
Yeah. And the stores R,
Mm-hmm.
pipe, and steel and all that
Yeah,
stuff was
all right.
down here.
Okay.
Mhm.
So anyway, you worked in and out of the shipping, part
Yeah.
of the BOP shipping thing.
Mhm.
And how long did that last then, Howard?
I worked there till April 41, and I went up in layout department to work.
Oh, all right.
Mhm.
How did you make that happen, or how did that happen?
You remember Sam Montgomery?
No?
Well, he was the head of several things up there. Raleigh Wilhite was a master mechanic, and he was in the back of this building with his
Okay.
tool designers and
All right.
process engineers. There was
Mhm.
only a few, you know, then.
Mm-hmm.
And Sam Montgomery had an office right in the corner of this building.
Building 40 southwest corner.
Upstairs.
Okay.
And I was working here,
Mm-hmm.
and I heard I had 3 years, 2 hours a day of drafting in high school.
Oh, yeah.
See?
Uh-huh.
Of course, it'd been 7 years since
Yeah,
I drew anything. And then, that was the story of my life. Well, then I got a chance, I went up to see Sam, and he told me he'd put me on for 3 weeks trial
In layout.
in layout.
Mm-hmm.
And I stayed there.
Who was in layout then, Howard? You remember who the guys were?
Yeah, Bud Cedarquist, Dave Cheney, George Fernsler,
Okay.
myself, and Brown. Let's see, Brown. He got hit by a train, killed.
Oops.
Brown. He was stepping up. No, he come to know him. Ted Calder.
Okay.
That's about it.
Okay. So there's just a half dozen guys there.
I went up there one week, and Ken Goldsboro come up the next.
Okay. Who was the boss then?
Henry Summer.
Henry Summers was the boss
He
of
was
layout.
the boss, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then he worked for Montgomery? Or?
Montgomery.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Montgomery.
Samuel Montgomery.
Montgomery had all of the process kinds of people and the layout kinds
He
of guys?
had probably a time study, and if there was only 3 or 4 of them, probably, and layout, and if there was a methods guy or 2.
Yeah. All right.
Service methods.
Yeah.
So
Good.
that's about the way that went.
Did you have any contact with Montgomery? Much?
Not after I got in there.
Okay.
I went right to work. Hadn't been there long, and I went right to work on moving parts and service over into here for wartime storage.
So you were moving them out of 62
62.
over to 32?
Over to 32.
Okay.
Well, no, wait a minute. I didn't move them out. We just took area over there to store parts wartime. You know, tailpipes, mufflers, all kinds of car parts
Okay.
for
So you moved the car parts though out of 62 over to 32?
No,
The other
we
way
didn't.
around.
No, we didn't. That stayed there, but
Okay.
we expanded over into here because they had to put so much stuff away for
okay.
wartime.
It was
see.
the stuff that was left over from production, kind
Mhm. And then
All right.
a lot more.
of.
We put up, just thousands of tailpipes and mufflers and
Oh yeah.
hubs and drums.
Was
and
that all on the second floor?
bumpers. First floor.
First floor.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
And that was kind of a storage area
Yeah.
during
and
the war?
My job was to figure out how much space 20,000 mufflers or tailpipes
Ooh.
would take up, and
Uh-huh.
allot that space.
Okay.
And for that.
So that was kind of the first task you had, huh?
One of the first ones, yeah.
All
Mhm.
right.
Yeah. And I enjoyed it. I worked with Glenn Wakeman and Brannell, Carl Brannell.
Mm-hmm.
They were both real nice guys.
Yeah.
They appreciated what I'd done for them.
Uh-huh.
I knew how to figure cube stuff, and they didn't.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Didn't seem to
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Anyway, I could figure cubes, like muffler.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and they seemed to appreciate what I could do for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they treated me darn nice.
And you mentioned that you fellows in those days didn't have an assignment of areas, you just went where the need was?
That's the way it was. Yeah.
Mhm. Were you on salary then, Howard? Or
No, hourly.
You were hourly, and
About $1 an hour.
you were up to $1 an hour.
About $1.
Uh-huh.
And I wasn't there very long, and they made me about $1.22.
Okay.
Just a little while.
All right.
So they knew they liked my work, and progressed.
Well, at this
To
time
a
when you
certain amount.
came up there in 41, Howard, were we making anything for the war at that time? Do you remember anything?
You bet. I know all about the gun business here.
Okay. What were we doing?
Well, building,
That's 36.
36, 38.
38, yeah.
This was a 75 millimeter, let's see, the tube was back here.
That's in the back of 38, right?
38 there.
Okay.
And this was the breech, let's see, breech ring. Breech block was in here.
All right.
The breech ring was in 34.
All right. So the
Yeah.
breech block itself was in 38.
And
All
they
right.
came together down here on an assembly line, the block ring and the tube.
Down the back end of 38. All right. Excuse me, 36, not 38.
We assembled them there,
All right.
and all the dunnage or packaging or crates, boxes, whatever
Yeah.
for them was over in here, and they'd bring
In
them over,
28,
yeah,
okay.
bring the boxes over and
So
load them in,
you'd
and,
pack them up there,
yeah,
would you?
and ship them out. I don't remember what dock they went on, probably one of these.
Okay. Yeah, and you machined 75 millimeters?
75, 76
Uh-huh.
millimeter in here. The 20 millimeter was upstairs here in 38.
Up in 38, right in
38.
there. All
Do
right.
you remember that? Do you remember that at
No,
all?
I wasn't here then.
No,
Okay.
that's right. And Marsh Coolidge was kind of layout man over
Okay.
that area.
So, but you made the 20 millimeter all up on the second floor?
The 20 millimeter,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
That was machined and assembled?
I think they machined part of it down here.
All right, on the
'Cause my
first
buddy
floor.
Russ
All
worked
right.
down in here. I think some of this was 20
All right.
millimeter assembly.
Okay.
Let's see, 37s, 20. No, 20 millimeter was all down here. 37 millimeter was up
Was
here.
upstairs?
Yeah,
All right.
up here.
So the
Marsh had
37
that.
was on the second
Yeah.
floor?
Henry's going to give it to me, but
Mhm.
Marsh had a little more experience.
All right.
And he knew Sam Montgomery a little better than I did.
Okay.
And he got it.
And the 20 was downstairs? 20 millimeter was
20
downstairs?
was downstairs here,
Okay.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And were you still making 75 millimeters in
Oh,
that
yeah.
same area too?
Mhm.
All right. And
Mostly back
76.
in here, yeah.
Those were long barrels, big long barrels?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, I can't remember how long they were now. But they were pretty good size.
Mhm.
Cannon.
Yeah.
They went on tanks,
Okay.
the tank guns that they were.
Okay.
Then over in here,
Car assembly, the 3275.
they made shells over there. Several different caliber of shells over
Was
here.
that machining like shells?
Machining and
Oh, yeah.
machining and
Uh-huh.
yeah. I never got into that too much.
All right.
I think Al Porter was over in
Okay.
here
Uh-huh.
pretty much,
Yeah.
and Fernsler was Fernsler was my boss for a while over this area,
Okay.
over this.
What did they do on the car assembly
I had-
plant, Howard? Anything happen in the car assembly plant during that time?
Let's see, car assembly plant. They built cars through February.
Okay. That's a February of 41?
Yeah, 'cause I knew
Or,
where
wait a minute, or
things.
February of 42?
42.
42.
I went up and used to rob things off the line. I knew
Okay.
They want a vise or a bench.
Yeah.
I knew where it was.
Because the line was just laying there dead?
Well, it was running a little, but not much.
Uh-huh.
And we figured this was more urgent, so
Yeah.
if we wanted a
Yeah.
vice or something quick, we'd go up and get
Were
it.
they just making cars still, a few at a time? or-
Station wagons,
They were making a station wagon?
government,
A government station
yeah,
wagon?
and some of them. And then the sedans were painted bumpers and everything,
Okay.
you know, pretty plain.
Were the station wagons OD color, or were
I
those?
think they were, what they built were government issue, yeah.
Okay, so they would have had that government color?
I think so, yeah. Mhm.
Okay. So we were actually making a station wagon? Interesting.
I don't remember how long they made them or how many, but they
Yeah.
made some, I know
Yeah,
that.
okay.
Yeah.
How about down the engine plant, what was going on during all
This,
that?
then they had this 305 rocket.
Okay, 3.5-inch rocket.
Yeah, George Redburn,
It'd been down
was
in here
in-
28.
yeah, Redburn was the layout man in that area at that
Okay.
time.
Uh-huh.
That come on quite a lot later than this stuff. See?
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. And the axle plant up here, Howard, was that just kind of...
That was, this was pretty much just the
laid-
boneyard,
laid there.
storage, yeah,
Uh-huh.
just storage. It
Yeah.
was-
Okay.
yeah. 'Cause
All right.
I remember going up there to find roller conveyor and different things that we needed
Yeah,
and wanted
yeah.
around the plant.
What other...
Dark as a dungeon.
Just kept her shut off.
Yeah, pretty
Uh-huh.
much, yeah.
What other kinds of things did you work on then during the war? Can you...
During the war,
Yeah.
and I went to the forge plant, was over there a long time.
Were you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Putting in, well, I was laying out the locations for, I think the hammer bases were all poured when I
Okay.
went, but the roof wasn't on.
This is the new buildings they were
The new
building?
buildings, yeah.
Okay.
30.
206 and 7 and 8. maybe.
Yeah, the roofs weren't on them even.
All right.
And I was over there, and I had to sometimes shovel to snap lines for the location of the equipment.
Shovel snow out or?
Shovel sand, gravel,
Oh
mud,
my goodness.
dry up the floor a little bit,
Yeah.
snap it. Because I had the Darren Armstrong contractor right behind me.
Mm-hmm.
They were
Digging
coming
holes.
right behind me,
Mhm.
digging and setting and. Oh boy, what am I?
So I take it you'd never been in a forge plant before?
No, I hadn't. They
Uh-huh.
just bang sent me over there.
Yeah.
And the first time I went over there, some guy took me over. I can't think what his name was now. But here goes a guy up a ladder, and he went out of sight in steam. Oh my God! I said, what a place to work. About 15 feet off the
Yeah,
floor, he
oh, yeah,
disappeared
yeah.
in the steam.
So how long did you stay over there then?
Until they started getting ready for cars, build cars again. Then
Oh,
I came
okay.
back.
So you stayed right during the whole rest of the war.
Mhm.
Would that have been in what, 43 maybe you would have gone over there, or maybe 44?
Let's see, 40. Battle of the Balls. When was that?
I don't know.
That's
I mean,
when
I don't remember.
That's when I went over there at the
Okay.
Battle of the Balls. They reassigned us all.
Okay.
To Carl Fisher was the big boss then.
All right. Did you get into the forging side while they were still running things at that
Mhm.
time?
Oh yes, yeah, plenty.
So they were making what over there?
Oh, spiders and barrels and for aircraft
All right.
and
What's a spider?
aircraft landing gear.
What's a spider?
That's the big hub that
The
props
propellers?
are mounted on.
Okay.
Yeah, for the variable pitch, you know.
Oh, yeah, all
to
right.
Come up with it.
Yeah. And what's a barrel?
Barrel was the big thing that fit over the nose of the prop.
Of the that pointed thing, kind of? The,
Yeah, it kind of come out
like
that.
a cone.
Big heavy thing.
Uh-huh.
It's like
Okay.
you know, they're still on display over there in the lobby of
No
Forge
more.
Plant. They're gone.
Yeah.
What do they do with them? Put them in the
I
base.
don't know.
That's something.
Okay, so we were making those.
Yeah.
And landing gear parts, you said?
And the landing gear.
Okay.
Great big forgings, heavy.
What were they making? Those hammers on hammer
Mhm,
forging?
mhm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, they had some big hammers,
Okay.
but from 5,000 pound to 15,000 pound hammers.
Okay.
Big fellas.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They used the 15s to make these great big parts, the 15,000 pounders?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I'm sure they did. I worked for can't say his name now. Over there. Anyway, I'd call him up. He didn't have any more forging experience than I had. And
Yeah.
I'd call him up and ask him something or tell him I had a problem. He'd say, "Well, Howdy, hang in there, Howdy. Hang in there," he'd say. He never come
No
over.
answer.
No, come over. Just hang in there, Howdy.
Uh-huh.
I wish I could think of his name.
See, what,
He was turned out to be one time the superintendent or the manager of the forge plant.
wasn't Elmer Corbin, was it?
No,
Bugs Daker?
no, it was later than that.
Okay. I
Later
will
than that.
keep guessing.
No, I can't say his name right now.
Okay.
Isn't that funny? can see him. I can't see his name.
Then, Howard, you stayed there until the end of the war?
Till the end of the war, and then
Yeah.
I went back about 45, 46.
Came back to Plant 1?
Plant 1.
And then
layout.
we were making cars then,
Mhm.
again.
Then I was assigned to the axle plant,
All right.
and I spent quite a few years in the axle plating and assembly.
Okay.
I started out axle and plating, and then I ended up with a layout man for axle plating and assembly.
Was the plating plant in 78, building 78 then when you came back, or was that?
Plating?
Yeah.
Yes, I had drawn it up before I went over there.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Where
I had
was it?
drawn it up.
Prior to that, it wasn't there. It was down there in this little dinky
little
building.
dinky building, one of these little dinky
Right there, it
buildings
says
here.
plating.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
And they had just wood tanks, monorail overhead.
Oh, gee.
Mm.
They just dumped a bucket of them in? A rack of them?
A rack of them in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And what was up in 78 back before that was plating?
Fisher Body,
Fisher Body was using that?
I think so.
Okay.
Let's see. Let's see, when this was plating. Oh, building 78 was all storage.
It was just kind of empty, huh?
Yeah, it was
Uh-huh.
storage. It was part storage,
Uh-huh.
receiving. Stores 1, receiving.
Okay.
Isn't it stores 1 there?
Yeah, I think that's what that is at the West End.
It was stores, you
Mhm,
know.
Right. 5 and 1, and maybe that was part of it too. I don't. Yeah. Anyhow.
It was different. It was separate.
So that building was just kind
That
of
was
empty
just,
from
you
machinery.
see, they didn't have a lot of forklifts then.
Yeah.
Everything was just stock spread out with
Oh,
little
no.
aisles to get in and out.
Okay.
And it was, yeah, the whole thing was.
A lot of hand walking and
Yeah.
picking that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because I worked with a guy loading Pontiac housings right up in this corner of this building here. Plating, yeah, in there.
The quarter
78,
78, uh-huh.
78 right in
Okay.
there, yeah. And shipped out on that dock there.
So you actually then did work on laying out the new plating plant at that
I
time?
made the first drawing of it.
Mm-hmm.
It got it all drawn up, and then they discovered, the plant engineer discovered that the pits, the plating pit, you know,
Yeah,
for all
the
the tanks,
tanks,
had to be moved 1 foot. So I redrew it and just moved everything a foot.
Oh my.
Everything.
Wasn't that
Just
ran into a
redrew
bay
it.
post or something?
The footings.
The footings,
The
uh-huh,
bay
yeah.
column footings. That's where I learned about them.
Yeah. The hard way.
Yeah, I redrew that whole thing.
Uh-huh. Did that happen probably prior to the war, Howard, when you were laying
Yes,
that out?
yes.
And then it came in after the
yeah,
war?
Yeah, yeah. Let's see, Morris Green, in tool design, come over and lay out, and made a string. Do you remember when we made the cardboard and string
No.
layouts?
No.
The conveyors were string and
That was
everything
on a flat board?
on a flat board. Yeah,
Okay.
he made it. And
Was that the
and I drew
gridded
it up.
board, the aluminum?
There was no grid to it
No
then.
grid.
It was just
Okay.
probably bay posts.
Mm-hmm. This was all prior to model boards?
Morris Green was, he'd come over with a red pencil and he'd daub all over my drawing.
Oh, jeez.
He wasn't my boss, but
Yeah.
he was the forerunner ahead of me on it.
Yeah.
And we had a meeting one time, and Harry Beeman was plant engineer.
Okay.
Big old, you remember Harry
No,
Beeman?
he was gone.
Big old
Yeah.
guy, loud voice, and everything, plant engineer.
Yeah.
He was sitting on my drawing board there on my stool, and he says, "Morris, for Christ's sake," he says, "quit scribbling all over this man's drawing." Morris, he told me. That was the plant engineer talking.
You heard it.
Yeah, he did.
That's all right.
That made him my buddy.
It did. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, some days.
Well, now, Howard, you had mentioned that the axle plant initially was down in 38.
Yeah, I never was, I don't
Okay.
believe I was ever in it.
All right. But then it later moved up here into
Into
21.
yeah.
About when would that have happened? You got a feel for that?
Let's see. Oh, yeah. About 35,
Okay.
because we thought it was pretty great. See, the frame line ran down through 21 here, you know. Remember I told you down here,
up
around
through
here.
21, came back
And
around.
about 35, they changed it over so it went a big lot longer, you know.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And the axles, the front rear axles come in over here. See?
Okay. So that's when they did that. They pulled that.
And there was a story, there was a float here, and the
Uh-huh.
axles come right over to
Okay.
us practically.
All right.
Yeah.
So it was in 35 that moved over to there.
That was the year that this went in and that went in too.
Mhm.
Because I come back to work, and I was working over in here, and
Yeah.
I had a whole new assignment, you know,
Yeah.
area, different
Yeah.
area. The slide was gone, you know,
Yeah.
and everything, and I was over in here on a pole,
Yeah.
on a power conveyor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When they did that, Howard, did they make this all powered all the way around that loop, or did
This was power down to here, then
Then
they,
there's still a
then
manual across?
the paint booth was in here,
Mhm.
and they went on hooks
Okay,
around.
but it
and
was
then
you didn't have that
it
hand
wasn't
push
full,
thing.
It wasn't full power, no. The hand push slide was gone.
Yeah.
But they had overhead trolley conveyor, and
Okay.
they run real nice on
Yeah.
that.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that was 35 when that happened.
Mm-hmm. Well, remember that.
Okay, well, let's set that aside for the moment, then go back to the picture business. So we'll get running around here. Don't want to use up your whole afternoon.
Oh, I don't care. I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying this.
Well, let's see here,
I
Howard.
think this is
Here is a notebook full of things. Building 40, 25th Anniversary Reunion, 1985.
that was about 49.
That picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, because there's a bunch of
Remember this?
49 or 50s. Oh, yeah, I remember that little building. Remember the gatehouse.
Gatehouse,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so that's the thing for that. Here's a teen magazine, which was 1985. That must have went with it.
I don't know why I leave that in there.
Here's 83, 84, cutting down Christmas tree teams. There's the GM20. That's probably because of
Yeah,
that. There's
I
Dick
see
Niles.
How's that?
Yeah, Dick Niles.
Oh,
standing
yeah,
right there.
over to Plant 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is Dick Niles.
And there's my napkin.
There's your napkin from the. This is from that.
Party, probably, I
Yeah,
imagine,
okay.
yeah.
Here's a GM20 brochure.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Something in here, got your picture and Ken Knight and a bunch of guys.
Here's the team magazine for the #1 car. I remember that. We did all that.
Yeah.
Gracie Lieblein, personal computer course. A drawing for a GM clutch pedal.
Oh,
Truck
that's
transport.
The last time
Must have been
thing
your
I
last
made,
drawing.
my last drawing, I think.
That's all right. A family outing. 84. Memory of Joe
Now.
Sanchez
Oh, that ain't the one I want.
when he died.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
New guy, Lane Kane.
Yeah.
Fisher Body Program.
I
Family picnic.
must have just stuck things in
Oh, yeah,
that
that's
book.
all right. They're all bits and pieces of that time. Olds line. That was a thing they were putting out. Here's when these guys were coming to the plant. I remember all that.
Yeah.
This was one of the GM20 tours. Let's see, Howard, what's this? This is Plant Layout. As it was in 8/20/84 must be.
Yeah.
There's Howard Glossop.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And there's the computers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the same thing. More of the same. Oh. Stuff there. There's Alan Wood.
Alan was retired.
Yep.
35
Yeah.
years.
Yep. Okay. And,
I don't know
comic
what that
strip.
is.
for something.
I don't know what it is.
Dick Niles' retirement
Yeah.
party. I think you saved the retirement guys.
Some of them. Well, there's a guy
There's
trying
Craig
to dig up
Openlander.
Craig Openlander.
Yeah.
He's the guy that replaced Paul.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
I enjoyed working for him very much.
Yep, I remember Craig was a good guy. Here's
What
another
is
team
that?
magazine for 1983.
What's that picture? Oh,
Well, that's out at
I
the
see.
Moon House,
Oh, I see.
out at Willamar.
Oh, yeah. Nature Center.
Yep. Oh, here's groundbreaking for something. Oh, that's the fence. Through for GM20. Yep, I remember that one. Let's see. Old age and treachery will overcome. Yes, right. Every time.
I thought that was pretty neat.
Supervision chart. Here we are. 1963, Howard.
Uh-huh.
There it is.
That's back a ways. isn't
Yep.
it?
Howard Glossop, right there.
That's me.
That's you.
Under who?
Working for George.
George Redbury. Huh?
Yep. Yep, working for George.
I didn't even know that was in there.
Yep. When did you...
Probably a lot of things in there, I don't know.
Must have been early log splitter.
Remember this stuff used to go
Fred
around the
McClone.
building?
Oh, sure. This is
Yeah.
interesting stuff. Now, Howard, what have you got here? Troy Design stuff. This is your hourly chart.
Must be.
Your purchase order for you.
Yeah,
Okay.
I saved a few of
Some
them.
more work that you must have been doing out in the car assembly plant. Here's Paul announced for his retirement.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good
Okay.
guy, Paul.
Here's a bunch of guys at
That's
Holiday.
told by Roy Switz.
Switzer, yeah. Those were all kinds of sales. Don Downey, Project Development Supervisor. Jerry Wood. Phil Workman. These are the circulation things that went
Must
around
be.
those days. Okay, that's all right.
That's a
Still?
memorabilia.
Oh yeah, it's still part of what happened.
Yeah.
Building 36, Howard. This looks
Now
like
that
an
is
oldie. This looks
getting
like
a
an
little
oldie.
fragile.
Yeah, I have to paste this
War
baby back
that's
together.
wartime.
Is it?
It's been
Is
pasted
that
up,
bad?
and I think it is. If I,
Only open like that. Only open like this. Be careful. Yeah, they're gonna come. It's stuck together. I think it's stuck, Howard. I don't know whether to pull on that or not. It's got some tape on it. See there?
yeah, it's old.
There, we got it. It's that old tape. Okay, what is that?
That's what we was talking about. World War II, 75 millimeter tube and
And
assembly.
assembly.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was all
my
the tube
goodness.
machining.
Okay. Now I gotta locate myself. Where am I here?
Well, let's see.
This is building 36. It says north is that way.
Mm-hmm.
So this must be the south end. This must be up next
South
to
end.
52.
Yeah, right. Here. Die room is
All
right
right.
in here.
All right.
Here's the assembly of the 75 millimeter.
I'll be darned. This is probably the only print in existence of this thing.
I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah, my map says north.
Mhm. I'll have to send that over and have it reproduced so it doesn't fall apart.
Say, you could do that.
Yeah, because it's getting quite old.
Yeah.
Yep, that'll be the only drawing we've got
And
of
here's
that.
some offices in
Mhm.
here.
Yeah. Yeah. What were all these big long
Oh, probably rifling,
horizontal honing machine?
honing and rifling.
Mm-hmm.
They
Okay.
rifle and hone and
Yeah. Okay. Here's a rifling machine. This is a recording of Howard E. Glossop of Grand Ledge, Michigan. The recording was made by Jim Walkinshaw of the Oldsmobile History Center on April 18, 1989 at the History Center at 4000 North Grand River in Lansing, Michigan. This is tape number 3 of 3 tapes.
ended
Yeah.
up pretty good, pretty good
Okay.
man.
Tell me about Don Verno.
He was quite a guy, though. One of these machines, he said, always says, I want these machines so that I can stand down here and shoot a rifle right down through there and not hit one.
Oh, really?
Well, one
Okay.
day, one of them come in on a Sunday. I was in, it was my day to cover the
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
area for layout, and Don happened to be in. And here come a machine, it was critical, and so he come down to help me lay it out.
Oh, he did, huh?
And the damn thing was longer than the others.
Oh, no.
God, he was put out. Oh, he jawed just terrible.
Who was he mad at? You?
Well, no, he come around later and says, Howard, he says, when I get upset, he says, I say a lot of things I don't mean. He says, he apologized
Yeah,
for the way he
yeah.
acted. But he was, oh, I never forget that Sunday.
Uh-huh.
Wasn't my fault, the damn
no.
thing, I don't know. But it spoiled his picture.
Yeah, it hung out over the aisle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little bit, hung out. But anyway, we had a meeting one day, and he says, now, Howard, he says, how are we gonna test fire the 75 millimeter? Kaboom, you know.
You're right. It's a pretty good sized cannon.
I says, I don't know, Don. I says, I hadn't even considered it. He says, well, they gotta be test fired. And he was pulling my leg.
But did you know that?
No.
Oh.
I reached in my vest pocket. He reached in his vest pocket and he pulled out a little round disc and he says, there's how we test fire. He says, you put it in there, into the breech, and he says, you close it up and fire it and get the position of the firing pin. And if it's in the center of that little hole, that's all right.
Then
And
it's
it was
all
just
right.
a cold fire, you know, they had me worried for a minute. There was a lot of guys there, Henry and everybody was there, you know. He was, you know, because we was building a 20 millimeter and test firing it underground. You remember that?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And, well, how in the heck you gonna test fire that down here?
Uh-huh.
Just before you
Yeah.
crate it up.
Did this thing, Howard, it looks like it went down the assembly line and must have turned around and came back? Is that what it did? Because there's no connection between these two.
I don't remember
what
whether this was
happened
a
there?
repair stations or what. I don't
Uh-huh.
remember.
You kind of got two lines there, sort of.
I just don't remember that.
Uh-huh.
I can't bring it back
Yeah,
now.
well, that's all right.
I do remember this.
Yeah.
There was I think this was probably painting or
Uh-huh.
drying and like that.
Yeah. Which way was that going? North or south?
I think it was headed this way.
All right.
Now, that could have been up here and then come across, because the whole building was covered with cranes, you know.
Uh-huh, yeah.
So they might have picked off and put over here, but you know,
It says box storage, so this must have been
Uh-huh.
your boxing area
they
someplace in
bring them
here.
up from 28. Now, I don't know what this is. Is there anything there?
Those are
Bench,
benches, bench, yeah.
I think this might have been, they used to do a lot of hand scraping on certain parts, extractor paths
Mm-hmm.
and like that. You get them just
Yeah,
glass
yeah.
finish, you know. It might have been a repair
Okay.
or pre-assembly or something. I just
Yeah,
cannot.
yeah, that's all right, that's a long time ago.
I remember this line, but I don't remember that.
Mhm. Yeah, okay, well, I'm gonna pull
And
that
I
thing
think
back
this
off.
had something to do with the paint.
That round thing?
Yeah, that was underground. There was a big grill grate there or something, wasn't it?
Let's see. Binks, yeah, it's a Binks downdraft
Paint.
spray booth, I
Yeah.
see, yeah,
Mhm.
okay, so
Yeah.
that was a spray booth. That would have been the last thing you had done, would it have been, Howard?
I think so. Maybe they put on more than one coat because there's about three
There's
of
a
them
whole
there.
bunch of drying ovens here, those
Yeah.
are drying ovens.
Mostly.
Yeah, and
mostly.
those are all spray booths, look at that.
Yeah.
Big little, three of
I
them.
believe that this is where they probably assembled the block and the ring and the tube, and then
Yeah.
they put it over here and run it down and
Through
paint.
that paint shop.
I think that's the way it was, because these
Yeah.
look like benches and things
Yeah.
here. There wasn't a lot of people in there
Did it go pretty
working
slow?
on it. I'm sure it did. I don't remember
Yeah.
what our production
Yeah,
was.
okay. Well, that is excellent, I'm glad to
World
have that
War
drawing.
II 75 millimeter
Yeah.
tube and assembly.
'Cause that is one of a kind there.
I always hung on to that.
Yeah,
I
glad
didn't,
you did.
I didn't want to throw it away. I thought,
Yeah, that's great, 'cause that's a good
It seemed to me I had another one of,
Good piece of
about
that.
like that, and George or somebody bought it one time and didn't give it back. But
Now that's all.
they were the boss, so I,
All that's left in the box is an advisor, which I think is just,
Yeah.
lives in the box.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, we went through it, huh?
Oh, yeah, that is beautiful, Howard. That is excellent.
That's
I think
good.
that's great.
I remember more than I
Oh, you're working good.
thought
Yeah, you did an excellent job.
last fall, I couldn't have done that.
Oh, that's beautiful today.
I'm getting my things, I'm getting my faculties back a little better than I did. I was just sharp as I used to be.
Oh, that's excellent. Oh, it is excellent. What, Howard, when you got to be a supervisor in layout at some point in time, when did that happen?
I was thinking
Do you
about
remember
that,
when that happened?
Well, I was put in charge of a group in about 46.
Mm-hmm.
I had guys like Turek
Okay.
and maybe a couple other guys.
All
I
right.
don't remember now. But you see, I had the axle plant, and then I had the plating plant, and then they
Okay.
gave me the assembly plant.
All right.
So then it got so I had more than I could do, so part of the year I'd have helpers.
Mm-hmm.
That made me kind of not a full-fledged supervisor,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. You were still on hourly, were you? Or
salary.
Had you moved to salary by
I
now?
went on salary, and
Okay.
let's see, about 43 or 44, we went on salary.
Everybody did? That was just the whole
No.
layout bunch?
No, just the guys that was making $1.22
Oh.
or something. The
It was-
top guy, Porter and I, and I don't remember who else.
Okay.
But we were made kind of like, we put on salary,
Okay.
and then we were kind of like group leaders, I
All
guess
right.
you would call
All
us.
right. Okay.
So the only reason we had help, because we had more than we could handle.
Mm-hmm.
So then you'd have a couple guys, and hey, you do this and that, and
Yeah.
axle plating or assembly, and it just grew.
Okay.
Then I was probably put on supervision, and let's see. Probably about made as supervisor, as classified as a supervisor, probably about in the early 50s.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And you know the rest of the story.
Did you, Howard, work on the new assembly?
Is it-
Yeah, that's right.
Mhm.
Did you work on the new assembly plant in 48 and 49? When we moved out into 32?
No, I had the.
You were still up
I
in the
had
axle
axle plating.
All right.
And we had a big job getting the axles scheduled and, assembled and scheduled
Yeah.
over to there. So that was my part of
Okay.
it, pretty much.
Okay,
The
so you just
ax-
stayed out
yeah.
there in
And
the
we
axle
built a
shop.
bridge across, and we had quite a lot to do.
Okay.
To get the axles over
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And bumpers. Yeah, bumpers.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, eventually though, then you got into the supervisory position. Is that when you moved into had the assembly then? Working
Mhm.
with you then? You had that whole west
Then I
end?
had all the whole west side, yeah.
Okay, all
For
right.
quite a few years.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And that's when we were building those buildings that we saw in here, the
Mhm.
74 and 74A. And
31 and
all
all
those
that,
little
yeah.
dinky buildings for
All built on, yeah.
the air right business and all
Mhm.
that stuff.
Mhm.
Okay.
Then my group increased. I had Gallon and Janetsky, and I had 6, 7 guys, I guess.
Mhm.
And then I went over to Plant 3 with that bumper plant, and I wasn't over there too long, and they dumped, George Redford dumped the rocket engine, or what was that engine, that J Sapphire
The jet engine.
jet engine. He dumped all that onto me, so
Oh,
when I was over
okay.
there, I had 7, 8 guys.
Now, did you move over there when they were building that plant, Howard? or-
Yes, I went over about '53.
Okay,
And because we had to come out with it for the '54 car.
yeah,
You see the bumpers, you remember they got bigger.
yeah, they sure
And
did.
it's so much surface that we couldn't plate it all, you know, we couldn't
Okay.
handle that much
Yeah.
capacity at the main plant. We had to have another bumper plant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, were we making bumpers and jet engines at the same time?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So was Plant 3 built to do both, or was it built to just make jet
It was
engines?
a jet engine plant to begin with, but then they put the bumper plant over there.
Okay, as the jet engine
Mhm.
started to fade away, or?
No, well, I remember when we started crowding the jet engine to do the bumpers,
Okay.
and because I went over, that's why I met Jim Logan.
Oh,
He
yeah.
had a department over there, and I went, I said, Jim, I says, we got to take that stairway out tonight or tomorrow night, and I says, we got to move some machines and this and that, you know. And that's when I met Jim Logan,
Mhm.
first time I ever saw him.
Mhm.
And so we was kind of encroaching on them to get
Yeah,
the bumper plant
yeah,
in
yeah.
certain little areas.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now,
And that was in '53.
were you moving presses at that time too, taking presses over there?
We had, yes, set up the press line, and yeah, I had, I worked on presses. Norm Buckley,
Oh,
he,
yeah.
he was the layout man on the
Yeah.
presses for me.
Then
Norm
the,
Buckley, you remember Norm?
sure.
Mhm.
Then the jet engine stuff all went away eventually.
It went out, yeah.
And
Then it filled up with axle
cranks.
and cranks, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Now, were you still
Maybe
there
not.
then, or had you
I
come
think
back?
I come back.
You had come back by
Yeah.
then, okay.
The time the axle plant went over there, I was back at the main plant, probably pretty well involved with the assembly.
Okay.
That was getting bigger.
And then Tornado came along at
And
some
there
point
was
in time.
Tornado,
Well, and before that was a little
F-85.
F-85, yeah.
F-85,
Yeah.
yeah. Because I worked with Knight very close on
Was
he was the methods man, I was the layout man on the
on the
F-85.
F-85 thing?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mooney used to sit there and he'd say, well, he says, Ken, he says, I'm just waiting for you to push the panic button. He didn't have that.
Yeah.
He kind of wanted it,
Yeah.
and he didn't have it.
Mhm.
And he was always looking over Ken Knight's shoulder.
Uh-huh.
And,
What was Mooney at that time?
he was a senior engineer sitting at a desk.
He was
out
just an
there.
engineer?
Yeah, uh-huh.
Okay, and Knight was the supervisor of the methods bunch
Yeah.
for the car assembly plant?
Mhm. But they were trading money.
Mhm.
I think now he used to go to somewhere to class
Yeah,
and all that. He
yeah.
was training him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you remember about, let's see, after Mike Minnow left in car
Bill
assembly?
Slackton.
Bill came along.
Bill Slackton took over.
Okay. What do you remember about him?
Well, let's see. He wasn't a bad guy to work with.
Okay.
I didn't work for him.
Yeah,
I
no,
worked with
you
him.
were just
Yeah.
working service him, sort of.
Service, yeah.
Uh-huh.
He wasn't too bad. He'd get kind of feisty once in a while,
Would he?
but
Uh-huh.
not too bad.
All right.
Bill was a reasonable guy.
Was he different than Minnow?
Yeah, Minnow signed anything he handed him upside down or anything.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Didn't, either couldn't or didn't want to?
He knew you had to put it in, make it work, so he didn't
Uh-huh.
sign anything. Bill was a little more critical.
Uh-huh.
Not bad, though.
Yeah.
He'd go along with well, anything we wanted to do over there, you know, was some kind of improvement at
Sure.
least, yeah. And model change stuff, of course, he had to go along with
See,
that.
Howard, model boards, they came to pass somewhere in there.
Whiter's hand whittled the first models, 3D
Okay.
models.
Why
He's
did
sat
that
in the desk
happen?
right behind me. Skinner wanted the model board, wanted the three-dimensional layouts.
He had seen it somewhere, or?
Evidently, he had where he had been before or saw it, or
Okay.
it was a new concept, and he
Yeah.
liked it. Because in 46, Dave Cheney and I was scheduled to leave the department, you know, cut
All right,
back.
after the war.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of them had left. Wade Moore and a bunch of guys had left.
Okay.
They got down to Cheney and I and a few and others, and when our requisitions got to Skinner, and I put in for my separation allowance, which was about $1,000.
Yeah, a lot of
which-
money.
Yeah, then.
Yeah.
Anyway, he said, "What are you letting these layout guys for?" He said, "Go for." He says, "I want to see more and more layouts." He says, "You get them guys back."
Oh,
And I was working for Jim Edwards.
okay.
And so when I come back to work, it was just happened over a weekend sort of. I didn't lose any time. I think I took this short vacation on a weekend too.
Okay.
When I come back, Jim says, "Howard," he says, "I don't want you to think we didn't know what we were doing. So we had to cut back. You two guys were picked." And he says, "They want to see more and more layouts." And he says, "I didn't think this should work." So he says, "You're back."
Oh,
And Cheney too.
yeah.
So that's the way that worked.
But then you guys, somehow the model board then transpired
Then-
from that?
Well, yeah, they wanted to make somebody to make 3D layouts, and Whiters was working down the motor plant, the 6-cylinder motor plant,
Okay.
straight 6-inch.
Yeah.
And he had been worked there and before in layout, but when he got back from the service, he couldn't get back up there.
Oh,
So they brought him back.
oh.
And he sat at a desk right behind me with some little wood blocks and
Yeah.
little saws and tools,
Yeah.
and he made the first layouts.
I'll be darned.
Yeah, the first three-dimensional
What was it, the
models.
engine plant or something?
I think it was something down the engine
Uh-huh.
plant. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
So this would have
then
been
it went from there.
in the 40s, middle 40s someplace.
Let's see, they're still building this cylinder. Yeah, 40. 46,
Okay.
somewhere in there.
And then prior to that time, you'd use these big flat,
Oh, yeah,
Drawings
yeah,
like that?
yeah.
With the models?
The score, the quarter-inch scoring and all.
was it these aluminum plates? Is that what it
They
was?
weren't aluminum, they were tempered masonite.
Okay. And they had all of the lines, the grid lines on
Yeah,
them?
they painted them white, several coats, and several coats of black.
Yeah.
And John Turek and one other guy there. I don't remember what happened to him. But they scored these boards. They took big iron, you know, big straight edge
Yeah.
irons, and a knife was honed just right, and they'd scribe. They did it for days,
Driving
making
nuts.
all the buildings.
Oh,
Yeah.
And what
Oh,
did you do?
Ted Kohler.
Ted Kohler?
Remember
No, I did
Ted?
not know him.
You heard the name.
Yeah, I heard the name,
Ted
yeah.
Kohler.
What did you do with those big boards?
We had big A-frame racks, and they set them on them,
Okay.
lean them up on them. And
So-
we take them down on a table to work on them,
Okay.
and then put them back up.
So they're just kind of all stacked up in a rack, and you had to pull out the one you wanted? Or were they all in a
Well, I
separate?
think about all they had maybe to begin with is a motor plant and the assembly plant or
Okay.
something like that.
Mhm.
And
That must have been a two-man job to get one out, or?
oh yeah, and then we used to have to take them down and photostat them.
Oh.
And as the wind is blowing, just about blow you away. Those sheets were
Oh, yeah.
quite big, you know,
Yeah.
4 foot square at
Yeah.
least, and we had them in sections. We carry them clear down the second floor of 3028 photostat was
Yeah,
down
the
there.
old art and chart department when
Mhm.
it was there.
Yeah.
Okay. So eventually we got to 3D and the whole works then.
Then we went to 3D.
Yeah.
And that's when they set the department up and had Pass Fan, Fainer. They had quite a few guys in there to begin with.
Yeah. remember a guy by the name of Good, Paul Good.
All good.
Seems like
Frank Fowler
was
worked in there.
yeah.
He did for a while, and he hired in,
Yeah.
got in the department. Yeah. Mhm.
That's all gone now.
Yeah. Boards and all, huh?
Yeah.
Have they saved any of them at all for posterity?
I think there's 1 or 2 down at the museum.
Is there?
Yeah, the new car assembly plant's down there, I think. But that's all.
90?
Yeah, 90.
Uh,
The rest of it's all
well,
gone.
that's a pretty big layout.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Five or six tables. But,
Yeah. I separated them more than once to get
Oh,
in there to
yeah.
look at stuff
Yeah.
when I was back working the last time.
That's why I'm glad we got enough pictures of them, because it's another era gone by.
Sure is.
Another era. And Skinner was the promoter of that. Interesting.
S.E. Skinner, yeah?
Would you get him out on the model boards then, just look at
Yes,
them?
he came over to lay out reviews
Uh-huh.
of any consequence.
Yeah.
Like when the major axle plan or plating rearrange or anything,
Yeah.
he'd come over. And what we used to have to do years ago, the layout man would, with a pointer, would do it, and he'd have a process sheet, the process
Mhm.
sheets, and go right through it. In the axle plan, I had to go right through the
Just describe exactly
process.
what a guy's
Yes,
doing.
here's drill, ream, bore, spot face chamfer on this
Mhm.
machine. Yeah, the whole thing. They insisted on us knowing the process too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But that's where I enjoyed John Hall and Pete Mitchell. They were damn nice guys to work with.
Yeah.
But we had to learn know enough about it to go through it.
Yeah, the process side
Yeah,
of the house.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's excellent, Howard. Oh, that's great.
Great days.
Yeah, it's a good recounting of the...
It was a good life. I enjoyed it. I had a little problem there at one time, but I rallied from that and went on to enjoy my work right up to the last day I worked there. I worked for you. I enjoyed working there. You know I did.
Well, I think so.
Never had any
Yeah.
problems.
Yeah. We had a lot of fun together. Well,
Yeah.
it's not to say there wasn't a lot of work, but things weren't always easy.
Yeah, I know.
Because we had some interesting bosses.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
So, well, okay, talked out enough?
My gosh, we hashed through her pretty good.
Okay.
I didn't know we'd get so much conversation out of that little pile of...
Oh, it's remarkable
Paper
what,
there.
what will happen out of a pile of paper. We've run into that.
You have anybody else come in and do
Oh,
this?
yeah. Oh, gosh, we've done almost 100 people, Howard.
Have you?
Yeah, really have.
Kind of like this? They
Yeah,
get
we-
out their memorabilia?
There are a
and
variety of ways. Sometimes we just sit down with the person and just
Just talk.
start rambling. Yeah,
If they
start,
didn't...
yeah, if he doesn't have anything to talk from,
Yeah.
or I drag along my BAP book, and if the person is a plant person, they can talk from that sometimes.
Yeah.
And, so it just depends on the individual.
Yeah.
It's really kind of interesting.
When you talk to Maury, you talked engine plant.
Well, we talked, unfortunately, when we went to Florida, we had to kind of divide the state up into two pieces, because I was going down in January and Helen was going to be down there in late February and early March. And so Helen took everything around Tampa and St. Pete, which included Maury. So Helen talked to Maury, I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I took the whole rest of the state. And so I talked to Johnny Turek when I was out. He was over sort of in the middle and over on the east side.
Mm-hmm.
And so I talked with Johnny. And when Helen talked to Maury, why, of course, Maury and Helen didn't know each other very well. And so
No.
Maury, I'm not sure, covered a lot of the stuff that I would like to have him cover,
Mhm.
because he kind of said, well, Jim knows all that. Why should I? And I told Helen, I said, well, that's a shame, because he really wanted to have the individual share with you the things he knew. So.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But we've really gotten, I spent, I think 4 hours with Bud Miller from the Forge plant, and he gave me, I'll bet it was a bushel basket full of stuff.
He did.
He just sat there just as you and I did here with his old, he had a big pile of photographs, and we just went through them and
Yeah.
and kept going and going and going, and it just was
Just
great.
reminiscing
Oh,
about
yeah.
everything,
And he told
yeah.
me what this was about, and who these people were, and what was going on, and so it's been remarkable. It's been an excellent discussion with everybody, so.
Yeah, I was at the Forge for a while.
Yeah, and Bud
told you
must have
about
been
that.
there when
He
you were
was
there.
something, I don't know what he was.
Because
He
he
wasn't-
started in 40 or 41, so he must have
He
been there.
wasn't the head man.
No, not at that time. He was
No.
probably down on the floor as a
Mhm.
supervisor, but.
I don't remember him
Yeah,
really as
yeah.
a, no?
But we've had I'll shut that off.